Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to our 3rd year anniversary episode of Filmbusters.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, it has been 3 years. We never shout ourselves out for our anniversaries.
I thought
Well, we're a bit
say
late
that.
for it, aren't we?
No, I think it's nice to have a staple of every year.
Yeah, I think this is a good year to do it.
It's a good time. And it's our 20th
Our 3 year and 3 weeks.
best of
anniversary.
2020. It's a nice little round off of the year and our podcasting love.
I'm amazed we haven't been cancelled yet by the producers.
I know.
Tell me about it.
They might
Have
pulled
you
the plug on
guys
us.
ever met with the producers? I only get their emails. I've never seen them face to face.
Maximus and Memphis.
I've heard rumours of them. I've heard their shadows lurking around the background, but I've never actually seen them.
Greedy media they are. Don't trust
Yes.
them. We never let them change the format of our podcast.
Never. We made all the changes. We got rid of the news.
It was
And
our
the
choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't Carl
We are our
Pilkington.
own producers. Anyway, so we're in a weird period because anyone who's listening to this now, it's Christmas is in the past, but we're recording this. We're the ghost of
Awkward.
Christmas past because we are pre-Christmas recording at the moment.
We were
Our
already
listeners
had
are the ghosts of Christmas future.
Wow.
Mistletoe and white.
Here's Tiny Tim over here singing.
Yep, Tiny Tim singing Cliff Richard is fine. So come on, tell me your stories. What's going on?
So I had a lovely Christmas in the future.
Yeah.
I just sat at home, just homebound and opened some presents.
Homeward bound,
Had some,
I wish
had
I
some
was.
HelloFresh turkey, which we're doing.
You're getting HelloFresh to do your Christmas dinner?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
they send you the whole box of everything. We make it, obviously. It's not pre-cooked.
Paul is such a lazy cook. He gets every single ingredient delivered to him and then he doesn't want to put any thought into it. You send me the ingredients and then I'll cook it. Lazy boy.
I had a HelloFresh last week, Paul, when I was being isolated, because it was very handy. I do like them every so often, but only when you've got the voucher codes, because they're very expensive otherwise.
Me and Zoe love a bit of HelloFresh.
This is not a promo for HelloFresh. Have they given us money to
could be.
talk about their business
Well, I
on
hope
here?
so.
Well, they could
I've
do.
got
This
I've
could be
got
our
a
starting.
50% off and then a 35% off for my next 3 orders.
DM them afterwards and say, if you will
Yes.
continue to send us
Let's
Christmas
tag them in the
turkeys every
podcast.
month, we'll do it.
Christmas turkeys.
Are you doing your own one?
Yeah, I rushed out and bought a turkey crown an hour before Boris made his announcement, and I got everything that I could get. I got the cranberry sauce, I got the bread sauce, I got the sprouts, the parsnips, the carrots.
Potatoes.
The potatoes are there. We got the potatoes. We got the Christmas pud, but we also got the chocolate pud. We got the Terry's chocolate orange, and we got the Toblerone.
Well,
We got the
what-
Franks in
what alcohol?
blankets. We got the wine. We got the beers. We got the Prosecco. We got the Bucks Fizz. We got it all, baby.
Did you get Brussels?
Ooh.
Yeah, of course. I love a bit of Brussels
All
at
right, tell
Christmas
me this.
time.
You've got a Christmas dinner right in front of you now, but you can only pick 3 items from it. Which 3 items are you picking?
The Yorkshire puddings, the turkey,
Okay.
and a little bit of cranberry sauce to make it all wet.
See, I picked the turkey, the roast potatoes, and then the gravy.
Gravy over cranberry sauce.
No.
Okay.
Oh, much gravy is key. Potatoes and gravy are key to every roast.
A
They're
Yorkie
good,
can
they're good.
swap in for the potato, though. I'm telling you.
Pardon?
A
pudding?
Yorkshire pudding
Nah.
can swap in.
I'm more of a potato man when they're crispy on the outside, all fluffy in the middle.
I agree with that. Yeah, use a bit of duck fat to get that going on. What's
A
Paul
roast
having?
potato is the best.
What 3 items for Paul?
I would say roast potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, and stuffing.
So no meat.
Nah, don't. I'll just put the stuffing in the Yorkshire pudding
Ugh,
and then shove the potato on top, mash it down.
you are having a carb-heavy Christmas.
I love the carbs.
That poor turkey, it died for you to eat it for Christmas dinner, and then you just let it sit there while you eat the carbs.
Turkey's a bit overrated, isn't it?
It's not.
Um,
we eat turkey all year
depend-
through. It's how you cook it.
It is how you cook it. They used to be dry, but my mum in the recent years has perfected it a bit more, and it's now very good.
Nice moist birds. We like a moist bird on this
Bigging up
podcast.
your
Oh, that's
mum there. Well done.
disgusting. You're banned from 10 minutes from talking.
All
Now
right,
let's do the quiz.
let's see how that goes. Yeah.
Let's just say before we go on to the quiz, today we are doing our wrap up of 2020. We're talking about all our best films of 2020.
We're gonna wrap it up
films
like those
from
presents.
2020 and first time watches from 2020. So it's going to be very fun.
Do you want to say 2020 anymore?
2020.
2020.
We've got 2020 vision when we're looking back at this year and all the
Oh,
films
look
we've
at that.
Hopefully
watched.
we'll get 2020 listeners.
Well, that would be nice and fucking unbelievable at the same time. The beauty of this section, I always look forward to this episode, even months in advance, because we get to talk about films that we haven't spoken about on the podcast. We just get to talk about our catch-ups.
We're just shooting
It's
the
nice.
shit.
Just shooting the shit.
Beautiful. Should we go on to the
Should we get on
quiz?
with it then?
Should we go to the
Yes.
quiz? Okay, so Ben gave up his crown last episode to me.
His turkey crown.
I am going to be the host
Very good.
of next year. Well done, Adam. I'm going to be the host of next year. So because I'm so far ahead at the moment, we decided that I will take the reins for the last question round of this year. And there's going to be 3 questions, and Adam has to answer all 3 questions to become second place in the quiz this year.
Yeah.
And what we've never mentioned is that our quiz gives us the opportunity to change any ratings we want to at the end of the year. And it gives us little bonus points, so we get the... How would you put it?
If you win the quiz, you get to choose. You get to change a score from a film that we reviewed that year, which affects our overall leaderboard. But also, for coming first place in the quiz, you get like 2 films to change, and second place gives you 1 film to change and stuff like that. All you need to know is Paul has the most amount of scores that he's allowed to change. And we'll be doing that at the end of the podcast.
Because that is just for
It'll
our
be very
fun.
confusing
That's
for
all
you
for
all.
our fun. It's nothing really that anyone really cares about.
Yes, but it's nice. It's still nice.
Yes, it's all very lovely. So anyway.
And stick around if you want to hear if Avengers is going to fall out of that top 20.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so, Adam, you are 2 points. You are 2 points away from levelling Ben.
Paul, can you clarify, is these questions just aimed at Adam and it's whether he gets them right or not?
Listen, I will tell you what questions they are, okay? Give me a chance. The host is speaking.
Sorry. Yes.
So, you have to answer all 3 of these questions correctly to get in the lead and become second place this year. So, the questions, I have 3 questions. They're all to do with something we did this year, some films we spoke about this year, and they're all to do with you, Adam, as well.
Oh, fucking hell.
Excuse me, who can answer the questions?
Everyone.
Both of you can answer the questions.
Okay.
Right? But it's leaning towards Adam just so he has a little bit more advantage, but he won't have that much
You've only
more
got to get
advantage.
1 out of the 3.
So all 3 of these questions are films that Adam did a plot description of. And I will read out the plot description and you have to tell me which film they are. But the thing about this
wow.
quiz, you can answer as many times as you want, but as soon as you answer wrong, the other person gets to answer. And if that person doesn't get it right, then I'll carry on with the plot description.
Like
until you do.
tennis.
Okay?
All right.
Are you ready for the first one?
Yes.
Here we go. Well, thankfully, on this occasion, the director already did a plot summary for me before the film. In some ways, apparently this film is representative of Serbian life.
Serbian film.
Oh, well done, Adam!
How could you couldn't make that any more obvious when you said the Serbian life bit?
Fucking hell. I almost panicked and didn't say it. I was just like, okay.
Well
shit.
done, Adam. Well done. You're 1 up. So at the moment, Adam's on 22 and you're on 23, Ben.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
This is
The next
tantalising.
one. It's about, I don't know. There's not terribly a lot of plot for this film. It's more of a situation than a plot. It takes place around a cigar shop in Brooklyn. In the 90s.
Smoke.
Oh, Adam, you got it first.
Oh shit!
Oh my God,
Look
you're
at Paul
level.
using my words against me now.
You are
Every time we
level.
tie, he's going to give it to
I
you.
couldn't remember the name of the film at first. I could remember it, but as soon as you started saying there's not much plot to this film, I was like, shit, I know that one. Then you said the cigar shop and it just came to me.
Well done, Adam. You're actually level now. You're both on 23, so this is the decider. This is going to determine who
Fuck
is
me.
the runner-up.
There's all about the business.
Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, for fuck's sake. After all the films I've had to do plot summaries for on this is probably going to be the hardest. I'm just going to go the basic premise of the film.
Mulholland Drive.
Yes! Well done, Adam!
Oh my
Yes!
God! How did he get that?
I remember saying that in my head, and I thought,
Oh
what
my
film
God.
have we done? That's
He's
a
done
mental
it.
plot summary.
I was going to shout out Jesus rolls
Oh, you,
because of the oh for fuck's sake. Oh shit!
well done, Adam. You did it. You actually
Yeah, I
did it.
remember-
You actually did it.
This motherfucker pipped me.
So that means,
Do some
Adam,
more questions, because just keep going. Let's just
Fuck no.
that was fun
Whoa.
though, wasn't it?
Adam has saved his best performance for the final episode of the year.
Yeah.
3 questions in a row. He gets every one right. That's rigged.
That is good.
You would have got 2 of them on the buzzer, though. So, like...
Yeah, you were very close.
I was
very
close with that smoke.
That third one, Adam just beat you, just done you over.
Carry on, Paul. Carry on reading that plot description for Mulholland Drive, and let me see at what point I might have got it.
Okay, I'm just going to go with the basic premise of the film at the beginning, and we can spiral away from there in the podcast. It's pretty much a girl who's in a car crash who can't remember who she is.
Bang! There, I would have got it.
that's when you
Okay,
got it,
right.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Shit, man, that's good.
Look
Well
at
done,
that.
young Adam.
So the scores at the end of the year are 27 to me, 24 to Adam, and 23 to Ben.
Fucking
I'm sorry,
hell.
Ben.
What a
Look at
travesty, man.
So just to get you lined up,
How
Adam,
much money are you sending me?
this means
Yeah.
you can change any rating of a film in any year we've done a podcast.
So how many in total can Adam change at the end of this podcast?
So he can change 1 from this year and 1 from any year.
Okay. All right. We'll revisit that at the end of the pod. That was good.
Beautiful.
Well done, boy.
Well done.
So we reset to 0 for 2021.
Okay, so this beautifully leads us on to what we're talking about this episode, and that is 2020.
This our first section. Us 3 boys are going to talk you through our top 10 first-time watches in 2020. So these are films that weren't released in 2020. We just individually watched them for the first time in 2020. And we're going to go from the 10th spot to the first spot, eh?
That's correct.
And we'll have a little chat. We won't talk too in depth because we want to save that for our nearest and dearest and our brightest and shittest. Yes?
Brightest and shyest.
I'm having a little bit of a drink because this is the end of year podcast.
I
And
had
I can
my
already
tea.
feel
I've finished
myself
my tea now.
slur a bit. Excuse me?
I had my tea and I finished my tea.
I encourage you to drink alcohol for an end of year special.
I don't have any alcohol at the moment.
Please have a Bloody Mary or something.
I don't have any tomato juice.
Have it without the bloody. Just have a Mary.
A water.
A
Have a
vodka.
Mary.
Top 10 first time watches in 2020. Who would like to go first? Let's flip the coin.
Flip that coin that has 3 sides.
Should we
saw
just
it.
go in the normal order? Paul, Adam, Ben. Let's do
Okay,
that.
let's just do that. Okay, so my number 10. This was spurred on by Ben's horror run that he did this year, and it made me really want to watch his franchise. And at number 10, I have Child's Play. This is the original Child's
Wow.
Play, not the remake. But that is at my
original.
number 10. Yes, the original. Very
That's
fun.
some hot stuff.
It is hot stuff.
Adam, have you ever seen Child's Play the original?
No, I haven't.
You sat in a cinema with me and watched the awful remake. You owe it
Yes,
to
I
yourself
have.
to watch the original.
You do. owe
I think
yourself
I've
to watch
maybe
the
done it
original.
at some point, but I don't remember it enough to be talking to you two about it.
Oh, I never thought Chucky would make one of our end of year lists. How lovely.
What would you have done if it was the remake of Child Play?
I would have divorced the podcast host.
Divorced me.
Yes, I don't know how that
This
could
is the
happen.
2-pack.
Oh, worst line ever in any film. Ugh.
Yeah, that was very bad. That did not make my top 10. I'm very, very sorry. It did not.
Now, I'll be interested to see if any of the subsequent Chuckies make an appearance on your first time watches in 2020.
Well, at number 9's Child's Play 2.
Is it? Is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
shit. Good call.
It is the better film. As you say, there is some hints of Terminator 2 in there, and it's got a great ending. Such a great ending.
See, Child's Play 2 is on Netflix, but Child's Play isn't. Which is really annoying, because I want to watch the second one.
Do you know what, Adam? I think, considering you watched the remake, you get the essence of it. Just watch Child's Play 2.
I mean, it's
You'll
Chucky,
enjoy
like,
it.
well, you don't really need to know too much of his backstory. You kind of know it before going into the film.
You know,
Well,
exactly.
I would actually say that it's nothing like the Child's Play remake, and you don't understand what Chucky's like if you watch the Child's Play remake, because that's like
I
it's
mean,
an
he's
AI.
a murderous little doll. Like, what more?
It's
than
an
you can
AI.
understand?
It's not even like.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sentient, is it? It's like some weird. It's just programmed to do shit.
It has no
Yeah.
emotion at any point, that remake doll, does it? Whereas the
No.
original doll, the Brad the
Apart
Riff
from when he thinks
Chucky...
a 2-pack.
Yeah, but he's just repeating what he heard someone else say. It's like Alexa regurgitating what it's heard. Whereas Chucky, the original in the Child's Play, he's a doll possessed by fucking Charles Lee Ray, Brad the Riff, a serial killer, and he carries that energy. Imagine a serial killer in a kid's doll who doesn't give a fuck about the kid at all.
I think you need to watch first Child's Play if you want to watch Child's Play 2, if I'm honest.
I mean, I will. I don't, unless I get really bored and end up watching it.
But Adam, do you know what? All those moments where you message us and say you're watching Larmageddon and fucking Shark versus Octopussy and shit like that, Child's Play 2 is the perfect antidote for those times. When you're in the mood for something silly and entertaining, Child's Play 2 will do the trick in spades.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
totally.
would Larmageddon, man. It's a llama that drops from space and shoots laser beams.
No, but you actually give this one a good rating.
Yes. You gave Larmageddon 1 star.
Yeah, that's all it deserves.
Yes. Stop watching these films.
What about Poseidon Rex?
No one cares about Poseidon Rex, mate. It better not be in your top 10 first-time watches.
Oh, mate. His fucking top 10 will be littered with those films.
Zombievers, all that kind of shit.
Yucky. Shall I go on to my number 8?
Sharknado.
Yes, number 8.
Number 8 is actually one of our episodes we did, and this was with the Contrarians. It's Holy Motors. What a film.
Ooh, look at that.
Very good
So what
film.
are these? These ratings of 9s at the moment?
Yeah, so these are... No, Holy Motors, it's all 8s at the moment.
Okay.
Holy Motors was an 8 for me.
Well, maybe we'll wait and hold off on Holy Motors because I've actually got that in my list as well.
Oh,
okay.
okay. We'll do that. Okay, and at my number 7 is a documentary, very beautiful documentary, Evelyn.
Oh, featured in my list
Is it
last
Evelyn
year.
or is it Evelyn? I can't remember.
Evelyn, I think.
Evelyn, yes. Very, very sad.
I've had that on my
Traumatic.
list to keep meaning to watch it, but
Well, hit us. Tell us what it's about.
So it is about a family who lose a son and a brother, and it's just them walking through...
I have watched that. That's when they go on the walk.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you know that?
The weird
Adam?
guy with the weird name. What's his name?
The name I
Evelyn.
just said.
No, the guy who makes it's got a really posh name. The director.
Oh, I
You are
can't remember
focused on the
his
wrong
name.
things, boy.
I'll tell you what his name is.
I remember it now. I remember watching it.
Orlando. It's not really an odd
Yeah,
name.
what's his surname?
But sorry, he's got like a German name. Orlando
very posh
von
name.
Eisenseidel.
That's a very posh name.
Einsiedel.
Oh, man. Considering the
I
subject
remember,
matter of this, the fact that we're lingering on his name is travesty, man.
This just shows Adam obviously... What did Adam give it? Let's see. I'm interested now.
I gave it an 8.
Adam gave it an 8, but...
8, you
I also
robot.
watched something else he did. He did something with the monkeys, and it was very good.
With the
Fuck
monkeys.
me.
Anyway, this film is a tragic film. It's they're walking around and they're just basically reliving memories of this young boy's life and how much they meant to him and their regrets and their love and their emotions, and it's very, very sad and beautiful.
And I worked with someone, she's now left the organisation where I work, but I worked with someone who was friends with the sister, which is how I found out about that
You say the
documentary.
organisation like it's some gangster squad.
I'm not giving out the details of my workplace.
I know, but it's just like the organisation.
It is an organisation and we are fucking global.
Oh shit.
The Yakuza. Or the Jacuzzi. Whatever happens.
Anyway, it's nice to see Evelyn appear in the end of year list last year and this year. That's
Oh, it
paramount.
yeah, it went last year, wasn't it? Yeah.
I believe it was my number 1 first time watch in 2019 last year.
Oh, was it?
Oh, really?
Ooh. Okay. My number 6 is Searching for Sugar Man.
Oh,
wow.
really? I've got that on my list.
Yeah.
Where is it? What number does it place in your list? I'll be
It's going
waiting.
to go to it's going to number 5 on my list.
All right, we'll wait till Adam
talk about it
speaks.
then.
Okay.
Okay, at my number 5 is Batman Hush. This is an animated film from DC Animated Universe. It's just a film adaptation of a very well-known comic book, and it's brilliant. It's great. It's got loads of the Batman villains in it. It's got a great story, and I can't really
Easter
say
eggs.
anything about ruin anything. So it's a good little Batman film.
What's the unique aspect of this particular Batman story?
Well,
Got Heath Ledger in it.
it's not got Heath Ledger in it. No, you're very, very crass today, Adam.
He is, isn't he? Dismissive.
It is basically this new villain called Hush. You don't know who he is. He covers his face with bandages. He's killing people around the city, and Batman has to.
Is it in Gotham?
Yeah, it's in Gotham. He has to confront loads and loads of villains to try and work out the. It's a very, very grounded detective story, which I love. I love when Batman's doing a detective story, and like that's his roots. But it's about working out who this person is and why they're doing it, and it's good. It's great.
Okay.
Okay.
And my number 4, it's another documentary. It's Love and Tosha. This is about Anton Yelchin, the actor who died.
Ah.
Yeah, I very, very much enjoy this. Very heartbreaking as well. It's he had a crazy life. He had a crazy life. He had I can't remember what was wrong with him now. He had a disease basically with that meant he struggled to breathe. I can't remember what he had. What was it? Oh, cystic fibrosis. Okay, so Anton Yelchin had cystic fibrosis, and his whole life was revolving around the fact that one day this horrible disease is going to take his life, and he's always struggling. But he puts on a brave face for every performance he does. You would never even know, and he kept it secret his whole life. And one day, he just came out of his house, got in his car. I don't know how it happened, but the car rolled back and trapped him against his gate of his house, and it suffocated him.
Is that how he died? I thought
Yeah.
he died in like a legit car crash.
No,
I always remember
it
he
was
got
an
run over
accident.
by his own car.
Yeah, horrible.
That's
Horrible.
insane, man. I
Yeah.
didn't realise that.
The fact that he had this whole like trauma of being able to breathe his whole life, and that is how it goes out. It's mental.
And he dies through suffocation. Shit,
Yeah.
that's upsetting, man.
Horrible
I
stuff.
didn't realise that. What's Anton Yelchin most famous for? He was in Terminator
He was
Salvation.
in Star Trek, wasn't he?
And Star Trek,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's been Star Trek, Green Room. He was
seen
in Fright Night.
Oh, Fright Night, yeah.
What else? He was in Alpha Dog. He's been in quite a lot, but like stuff that you forget that he's even in it.
Yeah, he would have had a good future had that not. Oh, yeah, and there was something
Yeah,
else.
he was very good actor. He was very good at crying. My number 3, LA '92. I've got a lot of documentaries.
You and
in my top 10.
documentaries, boy.
I see with documentaries, I feel like I give out higher ratings for them easier, because I don't know whether it's like the realness of them. It gets to me more than sometimes like a fictional story, and because I know it's real, it kind of hits me harder than if I saw a film about the same thing that happened in a documentary. I don't think it would hit me as hard because it's not the real footage.
Mm-hmm.
But
you know, there's documentaries about real events, and then you watch the film, and the film resonates more.
I know, but at the same time, some documentaries can do crazy things, and I still wouldn't rate them that high. So it's just swings
Well,
around.
what's LA '92 about?
LA '92 is about the riots in '92.
What's his name? Right, who's the guy who got beaten
On the
up?
back of Rodney King, yeah?
Yeah.
that's the
And
one.
it's just all archival footage from news and just like people on the streets at the time, and it's shocking stuff, but great. It's an insight into that time, and it's very well made.
If you enjoyed that, I think you should try and find. I can't remember what they call. Yeah, O.J. Simpson Made in America.
Oh yeah,
That-
so watched
That's
that.
brilliant, man.
4-part documentary.
Yeah,
was
that's
incredible.
what keeps holding me back from it. The fact that it's 4 parts.
But it's so.
Is that the long
wonderful.
one? It's really, they're like an hour and a half each as well, aren't they?
Yeah. But isn't
Yeah,
it
it's
the beauty
brilliant.
of it, Adam? Isn't it? Is that it sets the
It's
sets
a
the
level
scene,
of
like what
detail,
Paul's
man.
saying. The detail is incredible, and just to get into the psyche of how race was then,
work.
not just the riots and like the disenfranchised black community, and they're protesting against what had happened to Rodney King, but like how revenge is the wrong word, but how what O.J. Simpson was going through was almost like, well, this is our little battle now in the grand scheme of the fucking war that's taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm gonna check that out then.
Interesting.
It's about time I checked it out. To my number 2, Guava Island.
Ooh.
Guava Island.
Guava
It
Island.
appeared last year on our top list, Adam, eh?
Yes.
It did. Very beautiful. I watched it and then I literally watched it the next day. Again.
Yeah. It has
Yes,
that effect.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rewatchability immediately.
Oh, just
I watched it by myself, then I watched it with Jenny.
the music in it's beautiful. I loved it.
I like when he does This Is America
So good.
in the
Love that.
warehouse.
Yes,
he
so
integrates it. And that Summertime Magic song, because of the performance in Guava Island, that's why it played at the wedding.
In the summer. In the summer.
Right, if you two were singing it, it never would have played at the fucking wedding. You two sound like a fucking sack of cat cocks or something, trying to whistle out a tune.
We are
whistling
childish, Gambino.
Dixie.
Don't you worry about that.
But yeah, that's my number 2. I got a 9 out of 10, and that is on Amazon. People should go check it out. It's on Amazon. Go check it out. It's not a very long film. How long was it?
Like 60 minutes?
Yeah, it's very swift.
It's sub an hour, I think.
It's very good.
9
it
is
out.
high. Like, it's high for Guava Island. Guava Island was like a sleeper hit for all of us, man.
Very good.
Well,
Loved
what
it.
got the lofty position of number 1?
This was very recent. This one. It was a very recent watch, and this is Dawn of the Dead. Original.
Well, yes.
Original Dawn of the Dead. What a film. That's my kind of zombie film.
In the supermarket.
Yeah. You get the stakes. You get the lightheartedness. You get
Yeah.
the cool zombie kills.
How's the steak
It's
cooked?
fun. It is fun. It's medium. No, it's actually very rare, actually, the steak. I'd say.
High stakes.
Yeah. Very high stakes.
Okay, very well done.
Beautiful. That's a 9 out of 10. There was no 10 out of 10 first time watches this
Ooh.
year.
See, I've got 4 on my list.
Wow.
Got
Well,
4 10s.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
well then, without further ado, let's hear it, Adam. 10-1.
Okay, number 10 is a film I watched very recently. In fact, I only watched it on Sunday. This is recorded on a Tuesday. Spoilers to anyone who actually wants to know timescales. And that is Old Boy.
Wait.
Oh, Old Boy did make an appearance. Okay.
Yeah, so these are all starting at 9s, okay? They've got quite a high list here. Old Boy at number 10, which is 9. Number 9 is Dogman.
What are you doing? You're not going to speak about Old Boy?
Well, what do you want me to say?
There's much to say.
Tell us what you want
will
to
it?
say about that film.
That's a film with some stakes at play, isn't it? That's what you can say about that. Yes, it is very well done, though. It's a very well good film, and it leaves you questioning everything at the end. Who may be morally right and wrong, and like, do people deserve this and all that? So, yeah.
And just to clarify, you watched the original, not the Spike Lee
Yes, I
Josh
haven't watched
Brolin
this right.
remake.
No, of course. And number 9 is Dogman, as I just said, which is I think was in your list last year. wasn't it,
Another
Ben?
one rearing its head. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, which is about the Italian man who washes dogs and gets involved with mafia.
And what did you think of it? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's a 9 on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, great film.
That is a very good film.
And number 8 is I don't know what to describe. It's a concert film, and it's a very old film. I think Ben recommended it to me, and it's The Last Waltz,
Whoa, baby.
I haven't seen
which
this.
is brilliant. It's the band, and they bring out all their friends like Bob Dylan. Who else is in it? There's loads of
Bob
people.
Dylan. Who they got? They got Neil Diamond.
Yes, there's loads of people popping in and out, and it's just a concert happening, and people dropping in and out, just having a good time. And especially watching it in this year, it kind of makes you reminisce about the years.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Just to
Like a
watch
party.
live music and films
Yeah.
of live music now makes you really
Especially
fucking
considering
miss what
it
we
was
haven't
like
got.
even recorded in what was it, like the 70s?
Yeah.
It's like Martin Scorsese and all of that.
You
And
know
number
that song? Hang on a minute. You know
Go on.
that my favourite song in that. I've heard it on the album, but it's never performed better than in that film, and it's Up on Cripple Creek. No, it's not Up on Cripple Creek. It's The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. It's when Levon Helm, the drummer in the band, sings while
Yeah.
he's playing the drums. The performance in
It was
that is
always better, the singer. Every
incredible.
time he was singing was better than when what's his name
When
was
Richie, whatever his name was,
singing. Robertson, isn't
Richie
it?
Robertson, yeah.
Yes.
But see, Richie Robertson wanted to be the big star of The Last Waltz, and Scorsese kind of fell in love with him as the leading man, and he was like, "Right, you're going to be the focal point. I'm going to follow you." But the rest of the band were like, "This guy can't fucking play. He can't play. He can sing all right, but when he's live, he prefers posturing to actually playing." And that's why there's an urban legend, I don't know if it's true or not, that they actually unplugged his microphone for many of the group songs in that, so they couldn't
I love
hear
that to
Richie
be
on the
true.
contract. Oh man.
It's what we do with Paul a lot of the time.
Well,
I don't know how that makes sense. I edit the shit.
Paul literally does it to you, Adam, because he drops your singing
Yes.
out. He cuts your singing out of every episode.
And number 7 is a film we did on the podcast. It was a film that was in our quiz question as well this week, and that is Mulholland Drive.
Wow. David Lynch represent.
Yes, I don't think I need to say much more about that. We've done podcasts on that as well. Number 6 is a film called Purple Rain. which I watched for the first time this year, and it's brilliant. I loved it as well.
Is this number
Prince
9? Is it a number 9?
This is number 6.
9 out of 10, I'm saying.
It's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes, still 9. We're still on the 9s out of 10s here.
That Prince, so good.
What more do you want in anything?
Would you think that is like, it's 8 Mile, but 8 Mile just took it and was like, I'll do the rap version of that?
Yeah.
Which you think is a better
It's a less
film?
sexy 8 Mile.
Nah, Purple Rain is more sexy than 8 Mile, man.
That's what. Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. I meant to say that.
Yeah, 8
That's what
Mile
I
ain't
meant to say.
sexy at all.
No,
I meant to say it's a sexier 8 Mile.
Adam getting turned on by all those guys working down at the, manufacturing plant, making all those car hoods.
But yes, it is very good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And number 5 is the film that popped up on Paul's list, which is Searching for Sugar Man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's
Yes,
hear it.
It's another little documentary. It's a
is.
heartwarming documentary as well. It's about was it from South Africa?
Yeah.
So there's an American singer called Rodriguez, who's very good if you haven't checked him out, who was
He's
never
really
very
good.
big. He was
He's like
never very
Dylan.
big. Yes, he's very Dylan, isn't he? But he never made it.
Yeah.
Or did he?
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
Well, in America, he didn't. He didn't even make enough money to live on. He was all hiding away and having to work jobs and everything. But in South Africa, he was massive. But nobody had ever known of this guy.
And he
just
didn't know
released
either.
music. He didn't know about it. And what was it, in mid-2000s, wasn't it? Maybe a bit later than that. The people, the fan group, they tracked him down. And they told him how big he was. And they got him to come to South Africa to do a concert. And he wasn't believing them. He didn't believe him. He thought it was all a big prank. But he got there and he was laying on concerts. And yes, it's
Pretty
lovely.
unbelievable story. You wouldn't believe it if someone came
It's
to your house.
great.
Yeah, I know.
Highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it is great. It is
that
fun.
was good. I watched it this year as well, basically because Paul recommended it, and yeah, that was strong. I swear, like the next day, I can't remember when I watched it. I feel like it was early in lockdown. The next day, me and Jenny were driving somewhere to go for our walk.
Yeah.
It took us like an hour to drive, but we just listened to his shit all the way on the drive because
Good, man.
we were like, wow, his voice.
It's so distinctive as well.
It is.
It's a shame because that goes to show you how the producers decide whether or not someone's going to make
Yeah.
it in the early days.
It's all
And
about the radio play and stuff.
Yeah, he could have gone far, man.
But yes. Number 4, this is the first of my 10s, is a documentary about a guy who did go very far. And that is a George Harrison documentary called Life in a Material World, which is directed by Martin Scorsese again.
Is
It's a
it?
very long documentary, about 4.5 hours long.
Wow.
It's split into 2 parts. It's obviously his Beatle life. And
And
then
you give
his
this a
life after
10?
this. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. If you cared anything about him or you think you've got a slight interest in, I'd recommend to watch this.
So is this
incredible.
one of those certain documentaries you can know very little about the subject matter or the person, but if the documentary's done well enough, you can still really appreciate it.
There's
It's
so
one of
much
those, is
detail
it?
in it. There's like so much detail, hidden footage. It explains it all. It's one of the only documentaries about his life that his family have been involved in as well. So his wife is speaking in it and his son, and they've released like certain footage that they had around to Martin Scorsese as well.
Interesting.
But yes,
Lots of music on Adam's top 10
He,
here,
he
right?
loves it. He loves it.
All about the
That's
music.
yeah, of course the music what makes the world go round.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
At number 3 is a film that caught me completely by surprise. I put this film on just expecting it to be another kind of average film. You know, when you're not expecting wonders from it, it's called Fruitvale Station. I don't know if any of you
okay.
have seen it.
We have.
I feel
Have you
like
seen
this.
it?
I felt this
Yeah.
in my list last year.
Yeah, it was on my list last year.
Was it? Okay. It was absolutely brilliant, man. I watched it at the end of it and I was like, oh my God. How a film, and it's not a very long film, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. How a film in that length of time can be as powerful as what they did.
How good
Nah.
is Michael B. Jordan in that?
Fucking brilliant. Like, I was completely blown away with it. I was like, almost wanted to rewatch it immediately just to make sure I actually understood it. I wasn't hyping it up too much. It's like, did that actually just happen?
And that's Ryan Coogler as well, the director of Black Panther.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. It's horrible because you know what's going to happen, but the rest of the film is like it doesn't even play to the fact that it's going to happen. It just happens. It's like the rest of it's just like the relationship story, him seeing his daughter, and all that.
Yeah.
It's like
Just going out
sad.
for New Year's.
Yeah.
It's good because it reminds you hear about these things happening and you see it on as like a 10-second snippet on something like Twitter. Someone's been shot, black guy's been shot like that, and it's like fucking just another day in America. But you forget the human story behind the person.
This is one of those ones that you said about the documentaries. Like, even if you saw the documentary on this, or even if you actually saw the footage of people filming it on the train,
Yes.
I don't think it would hit you as hard as
I could agree with that. Yeah, I could agree with that. It's because
the emotional stakes.
gives you the story of it, and that makes that tightens the experience, doesn't it? Yeah.
You know, his energy in this film reminds me of our good friend Danny. Many listeners will have heard Danny on our In Time episode. Michael B. Jordan's character in this is I think, very similar to how Danny is.
I think that probably might be why it hit me hard, actually, like
Maybe.
subconsciously.
Maybe. It definitely reminded me of him big time. What was that, Adam? Number 2?
That was number 3.
Ooh. 3. Ooh.
2 more. Number 2
Music documentary.
is not a music. There's no more music documentaries, don't you worry.
Maybe not on your list.
Number 2 is The Untouchables.
Oh, Untouchables, yes.
I don't know, it's got another name as well, isn't it? Sometimes it comes up on people. Is it Untouchables as well?
Untouchables.
Untouchables is a very different film.
Yes.
Not the one with Sean Connery and De Niro in.
No, Untouchables.
No, but this is the French film about a guy who's meant to be looking after this disabled man because he can't get around, and they become best friends, and they shows him the other side of life that he's never had. He's a very rich man. He's always had everything kind of go his way, and this man shows him the other side of life, and it's a lovely little film.
Did you say recently that this was your favourite foreign film, actually, Adam, when we asked this on the podcast? I'm sure you said that.
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah. Very strong.
It's not City of God, like you always say.
No, I forgot about this at the time, but yes.
What do you think about the fact that Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston did an American remake?
I'll never watch that. I like Bryan Cranston or Bryan Cranston, but I'd never watch that. Kevin Hart annoys me a lot.
Yeah, Kevin Hart is annoying. Very much so.
It's very odd now because Bryan Cranston, like, he had that time when he was in Breaking Bad, and he was like one of the biggest people ever, right?
Yes.
And now he's almost like a joke.
Yeah, totally. If you saw him in something, you wouldn't take it seriously.
No, never.
Bryan Cranston in the cast of something is not a selling point anymore.
No, it's not. Odd.
Very sad.
He's almost diluted himself too much.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Our Contrarian Brothers did an episode on The Untouchables.
Oh, did they?
They also did an follow-up episode on the American remake as well. They did not care for it.
I hope they pandered it.
They did.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
So what gets the number 1 spot?
Ooh.
This is a film we did a podcast on. Oh, yes, It's an all moment. It's a film I picked for the podcast that I never watched at the time.
Oh.
It's a film that Ben bought me for my birthday.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Cinema Paradiso.
Well done.
Well, say no more, baby. We said all that there is to say on that.
Yes.
There is a podcast on it where we speak about it in depth.
Go and listen to that one. I think it's in our top 3 films we've ever covered, right?
It is number
4.
3. No.
Number 4. Oh. Home Alone pushed it out.
It is number 4. Yeah, it's number 4 now. Home Alone pushed it out.
That makes me sad, but what a film.
What a film.
All right, well, that's good. So let's do mine. So starting at number 10, I'll keep the music documentary tradition going. Number 10, I watched this at the beginning of lockdown, is Supersonic. It's the documentary of Oasis. And as someone who is a fan of both Liam and Noel individually, but never really massively collectively Oasis, this documentary really captures a moment in time. It feels so nostalgic as fuck, particularly as a British person, and what life was like when that music was first coming out, but also how religious the community around Oasis can be, and how their legend has lived on. And I love the fucking insight into what was going on behind the scenes. It's such a well-made documentary, and I think it's one of those ones.
Watched it many a times.
I'm sure you have. Paul, have you watched it?
No, I haven't. No.
It's one of those ones where even if you don't like them or don't like the music, I think you would watch the documentary and go, "That was fucking good."
There's always a line in Oasis that it sticks with me, and it's like towards the very end. I think Noel says it, and he goes, "Well, they've just done Net Worth," and he goes, "I think that was the last gathering of the people." last great gathering of the people. Stuff
That's
like that
right.
doesn't happen no more.
Yeah.
He says there's too many people that get involved. There's too much money involved. There's too much social media. Like this,
Yeah.
things like this do not happen again. 250,000 people in one spot for a concert.
And mate,
And
who
people
knows?
just enjoying it in the moment. Like,
Who knows if that will ever happen again on that scale because of what we're going through, vaccine or no vaccine? Who knows?
Yeah.
because you think about it, that's like 250,000 people is what people go to Glastonbury. They
Yeah.
don't even all people go to one stage. That is 250,000 people one stage.
And they all went for one fucking band. I know, it's special. It's special.
And you look at the lineup for that night. The Apology were on there, I think, as well. I think there's quite a few. I looked at it before. And it was like £14 for a ticket.
Mate, times have changed, man. Times have changed. Also, like now, literally as of now, the last live gig I went to was Liam Gallagher with you
Yeah.
just over a year ago, Adam. That's crazy. That's how long it's
I
been
know.
since I've
Is
seen
that when your
live
phone
music.
got stolen?
Yeah, it was. And Ben tried comforting me.
Oh, that did not work.
Dear listeners, there's a video out there that maybe one day might get released of when we went to a Liam Gallagher gig. And I annoyed Adam a lot after his phone was stolen. Anyway, moving on. Number 9 is a true story, but the fictional account of it is Rush. And
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yes. Ron Howard's Rush, which had been a long time for me watching, and I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, but Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Brawl are fucking perfect as, who is it, Nicky Lauder, and what's the other guy's name?
James Hunt.
James Hunt, or James Cunt as he should be called, because he's really arrogant in the film.
Well, as they play on that quite a few times, don't they?
That's where the name comes from, isn't it? That's why they use it in Cockney rhyming slang.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
Someone
Really?
look that up. Look that up in a dictionary and we'll find out.
If it is, that is a fantastic fact.
I did enjoy the film, mainly because for as much as I did or used to like F1, I didn't know too much about Nicky Lauda, so I wasn't aware of that crash and what happened and what became of him afterwards. So I enjoyed the rivalry, I enjoyed the dynamic, and I really enjoyed the race sequences. I thought they were really fucking good.
It's very fitting that this is the year he died as well, and you
Yes.
put him in our list.
Well, there he is. Shout out to Lauda.
No, it wasn't the year before. No shit, he died in 2019.
Well, that's very sad. Nevertheless, we move
James
on.
Hunt. James Hunt is on the Urban Dictionary, and it says this is rhyming slang for cunt and is normally used. As
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you meant cunt came from Hunt. Okay.
No.
Oh, yeah, I get it now. I was confusing myself.
Well, you're being a bit of a James Hunt.
Yeah.
So we move on from that big mainstream film and we go to something very, very independent from, like, I think the mid-90s, and it is Steve Buscemi in The Soup.
Oh, I watched this recently as well.
You watched it the other day,
watched
didn't
it.
you?
You both watched it, I believe, didn't you? You've seen it too,
I haven't seen
Paul.
it. I have not seen it, no.
Well, I really, really like it because it's like the Buscemi independent film that works. There's a load that don't. There's a bunch of Buscemi independent films that are very not good. Like, you watched Trees Lounge the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, that's a bit.
It
It's
doesn't
a bit
work.
weird.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, it's a guy hitting on a 17-year-old girl.
I know,
That's
I know.
effectively what the film is.
I know.
God.
And the thing is, I would defend to the death independent film and Steve Buscemi being an independent film man, but only when it really works. And in The Soup,
Yeah,
it works so
but
well
you've
for
got to
me.
accept it. It can't always work, can it?
No.
But in The Soup, yeah, it's a brilliant. So I don't want to spoil the ending for Paul, but yeah.
It's kind of like, it's a very abstract, independent love letter to
Yeah.
independent filmmaking. Like, just what if you want to make a film, here's how you can get it done, and we're going to throw in a gangster story into the mix. It worked very, very well. I enjoyed it. And I liked it all shot in black and white. Very nice.
Lovely.
The next film on my list, and I think you've both seen this, is called The Face of Love. And it's got Ed Harris and Annette Bening.
Yes,
I've not seen it.
I watched this the other day.
What did you
I
think?
didn't care for it as much as you did.
Oh.
I could get why you do it, but there's not enough there to.
Well,
know.
yeah, I don't know. Something in it just resonated with me. Basically,
Yeah, and I
Paul-
completely get that, and that's probably why it's so high up your list. But as
Yeah.
a film, if you don't resonate with it, there's not much of a film below that.
that's
If that
right.
makes sense.
It's quite badly rated, isn't it?
Well, it may well be. I don't look at the ratings, to be
Hmm.
honest.
I
that
wanted
stood
more
out
Robin
for-
Williams as well. You can't put Robin Williams in role. Is that one of his last films as well?
It's one of his last films, yeah.
Oh, I see in it.
So Annette Bening is married to Ed Harris, and he dies immediately at the beginning of the film, and so she carries on as a widow, and then one day she sees him in a museum, and she's like, "What the fuck?" and she becomes obsessed with this man who is, it's Ed Harris again, the spitting image of her husband. And she gets into a relationship with him without telling him that he is literally the spitting image of her husband. And it just works.
Which is the most annoying thing about the film, is just fucking tell him.
Nah, man, because she doesn't want to lose that. That's the thing.
No.
She doesn't want to lose.
What would she
imagine?
lose?
Huh?
What wouldn't she lose?
Yeah, but he might
Because she
understand that.
already enters into a relationship with him without telling him that he looks the spitting
if you
image
speak
of her
to them,
husband,
then all
right?
problems are solved.
She's not going to say that to him from the off because that's going to creep him out. So she wants this man near her because she misses her husband so much. And here is this man who is literally her husband. If she tells him, he's going to fucking flee. So she won't do it. And then the plot.
Can I just ask whether it actually like says something like he's not actually a randomer? He's actually something to do with the husband.
No, he's nothing.
No.
He's nothing to do with the husband.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
they're completely coincident. But yeah, it's it's like the stuff with the daughter. It's like, just tell your daughter.
Yeah, I know. The daughter being surprised, I know. It was. I won't say too much in case Paul ends up watching it, but
I'll watch it.
I did. I thought it was very nicely handled, and mainly I liked the acting between the two of them. Ed Harris was very sweet, and he's not normally
They had
sweet.
a nice relationship, yeah.
Very sweet. Number 6 was Arrival, which just like for me fucking compounded the fact that I love Denis Villeneuve. I think he can do no wrong. I don't think I've seen a film by him that I didn't think was fucking incredible.
I did not agree with Arrival. I've watched some of his stuff and I loved it, but Arrival just did not work for me. I just don't get it.
Either.
And what didn't you like about Arrival?
I don't know what it was. I just did not like that film. It just annoyed me.
I found it very pretentious, and it felt very like set up. Like by the end, I was like, "Oh, really? That is the story?"
I thought it was a wonderful reveal at the end.
I wanted to watch it again
I can't
because
remember it.
I did want to go back to it because I have memories that I want to explore, but
I
I
think
didn't like it at the time.
the idea of language and how they were communicating and how things were being translated was very powerful for me. And I would say that in some ways, not in all ways, but in some ways, it was a better film about space and communication and relations with people than Interstellar is.
No.
And I think if I watched Arrival again as well, that I would consider it better than Interstellar. Interstellar's been watched 3 times by me, so I've had time to sink in. But if you want to talk about pretension, my friend, you cannot talk about pretension and then talk about Interstellar, because that is some
that's
pretentious
more
shit.
science based.
Nah.
It's all based in science.
Anyway,
Interstellar.
Amy Adams was wonderful in it. I liked the direction. I liked the story. I loved the ending.
It's a beautiful film to look at, but there's no substance to it.
Oh, there was substance. Come on now. Holy
It was
shit.
black substance.
Oh, you foolish children.
Inky substance.
I'll talk to you no more of Denis Villeneuve. Number 5 in my list, and Scott is going to like this one. Number 5
Is it Scream?
Steel Magnolias. And Steel Magnolias, right? I watched this film when I was sick as a dog right before coronavirus locked the whole world down. About 2 weeks before, I was vomiting violently, and in order to recover from it, I needed something soft and gentle on the telly. So I crawled into my living room and got under the blanket and laid down on Jenny's lap, and we watched Steel Magnolias, and it is some heartfelt, emotional shit. It has an incredible female cast from the 80s. It's got Dolly Parton in it, man. Julia
I've
Roberts.
watched it a very long time ago.
Daryl Hannah and Sally Field. And Sally Field, I don't know if she was nominated for an Oscar or what for that, but her performance in that is Oscar worthy. And it all sort of centers around a wedding that's going to happen. Julia Roberts is going to get married, and it's all about what is happening in and around that situation. I think it was a play originally. Anyway, I fucking loved it. It was emotional. It was beautiful. I cried, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time, baby.
I know what happens in the film. I just can't really remember much else that happens apart from the big thing.
It's all in the performances, really. Just like something like Glengarry Glen Ross. It's not so much about the key plot points as how the characters push things forward. Anyway, loved it. Number 4, it was brought up on Paul's list, and it's number 4 on my list. It is our collab with the Contrarians, and it is Holy Motors.
Oh, wow.
Again, if you want to hear what we think of that, listen to the episode. I won't say anything more about it here. Number 3, and I really would have loved this to have been number one of the year. When I watched it, I almost thought it would have been, but it doesn't quite cut it. Number 3 is Phantom Thread.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Again, Daniel Day-Lewis's final acting performance. When I first started the film, I was like, I'm not sure about this. I don't know what this is getting at. But by the end, I was like, this is incredible. It takes like some sort of mythical fairy tale elements of traditional storytelling and throws it into this fucking plot narrative of a guy who makes dresses and his relationship with this woman who comes in and how that drives a wedge between him and his sister and him and his metaphorical mother. I just love the style of it. I love the acting. I love all the beats of the story. I would love to watch this one again. Just like There Will Be Blood, and just like another Paul Thomas Anderson film I watched recently, The Master. It's one of those films where the first time you watch it, you know it's something special, but you're going to need to watch it another time and another time to enjoy it even more.
Yeah, you need to relax into it.
You need to
after the
relax
first
into
watch.
it. And that's where we'll take Oti to task, you and I, because
Yes.
in For Your References wrap-up, Oti said, if you don't know straight away that it's a 10, it can never be a 10. That's some bullshit, Oti, I'm sorry.
That's some bullshit.
And he backtracks on it himself because he
I know.
gave fucking, what's it called? District 9 an 8.5, and then he was like,
Backtracking.
that's a 10.
It's like, you said it was an 8.
Yeah.
An 8.5.
And my final 2 films I'm going to do as a couple, number 2 is Rocky 2, and number 1 is Rocky.
Oh, yes.
I'd never seen the Rockies before this year, and I cannot tell you how delighted I was to watch Rocky and be fucking fully in love with it, all in. Doesn't matter that decades and decades of like satire and
It
prestige
doesn't matter
and
how
spoofing
cheesy it is either.
No.
And how many times it's been redone.
It's
like The
too
Godfather.
good. It is too fucking
It's not
good.
like The Godfather, no.
Well, I'm talking like, you can always watch The Godfather and realise what that film started.
The thing
No
that's
matter how many films have done stuff similar to it, how many times have people have like almost remade in different aspects, maybe not quite the same way, but you can go back to those films and realise what they actually started.
both of
You know,
them.
sometimes when you
they-
watch an old film that people have done again since, you're like, it gets taken away from you because maybe it's been done better recently, and you're like, so the old ones don't have the same impact on you.
Well, look, it's like take Goal that we covered recently. It takes the Rocky narrative. Goal exists
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Rocky came along, but Rocky does it fucking better. Rocky is the ultimate
Rocky.
film.
I
Rocky
think
and Rocky 2.
it does it just the same.
No, you're not paying attention to the nuances, son. Basically, we've had this conversation before on the
We
Go
will
and listen
fight
to
you.
Goal.
It may be tier 4, Paul, but we will fight you.
Yeah. The thing that I like the most about the Rocky films is the relationship between Rocky and Adrian, because it's
Say it properly,
very
then.
sweet. I'm not going to do that silly voice. It's very, very touching and very underrated. I love the style. I love the fact that
Rocky's underrated.
Yeah, it is
Is it?
the romantic relationship.
Oh,
Romantic relationship.
okay.
No
I
one
thought you meant
really
the film's
talks about
underrated.
that. They talk about that Adrian moment, but they don't talk about the nuance of that relationship and what she actually means for him and how she actually is in his corner all the time, and his strength is drawn from her and she draws strength from him because she's very timid. She's very quiet in that first Rocky. She's very
And he's
nervous,
very
Nelly,
forceful.
because of her brother. Never mind that scene. It was off the time, and then as time goes on, she is in his corner. She's championing him, and he's bringing her out of her shell, making her stronger, making her able to stand up to her brute of a brother. Her brother's a piece of fucking shit. And then in the third film, the brother's almost like a sideline. He's reduced himself to shit, and Adrian is empowered. She's the one giving Rocky the fucking motivational speeches and telling him how it's going to be. It's beautiful. I can't wait to carry on the rest of the Rockies. And that's the end of my list.
I can't
Well
wait to
done.
see where it falls down.
Well, it ain't going to be the next one because I know the next one very well, and that's beautiful.
Oh, have you seen that one then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that the one with the robot?
No, that's 5.
Ugh.
I've seen bits of 5.
Anyway, let's move on.
What are we doing now? Honourable mentions?
Honourable mentions. So what are honourable mentions?
So honourable mentions are stuff that just gets pushed out of our top 10 and it makes like another top 10 list. So basically our top 20 to 11.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so my number 20, I actually watched this 2 nights ago, and it's a Pixar film, and it's Onward.
Okay.
Me and Ben had a chat about Pixar the other day. It hits me hard because of the subject matter is about losing a father, and I lost a father when I was quite young, so it hit me that way. So it got me on the emotional beats. But I think many Pixar films struggle to find a good story to put with the emotion, and that's what it struggled with. So it's on an 8.
Yeah,
it's no higher than an 8.
See, this is the thing with Onwards. It didn't hit me on that emotional level. I kind of, you get it, like, but it didn't. It needs to hit you quite hard for the rest of the story, because there's a story there, but it's not a strong story in my opinion. I'm sorry. It feels very childish in a lot of places. There are a couple moments where you enjoy it and you're actually laughing along with it, but it wasn't enough as an overall package to.
No, I agree.
Put up with that, and also it's got Chris Pratt in it, and even his voice is starting to annoy me.
That's all I got to say about Onward. I cried, and that's the end of it. At my number 19, I have something that I know is in Ben's list, and this is Lynn and Lucy. So we'll leave it there, and we'll talk about it when it comes up again. And then on my number 18, I have another film that's in Ben's list. So I guess we'll talk about it later. This is Blow the Man Down.
Yeah, okay.
Blow the Man Down.
And then at number 17, I have a film that I was very lucky to watch. We got sent a screener by one of the production companies, and it's Swallow.
Okay, so what's this shit about?
So this film, is about this woman who's basically dominated over by her husband and his mother, and she finds it very hard to show her emotions and like be herself. So she decides to start to use her independence and start swallowing random items in the house because it's her choice to do so.
Fucking hell, man.
It's very, and do you know ASMR, like on YouTube?
Yeah.
And like the sound effects are so good in this film. And it's like, oh, she swallows pins and stuff like that. It's like you hear her mouth like swallowing. It's like, oh my god.
Ugh.
But it's done so well. It's really, really well done. And yeah, I recommend it. It's very interesting.
Swallow.
Swallow.
Okay.
My next one at number 6 is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This is still at number 8.
Yes.
This is the Netflix film. This is... Who's the guy again? This is Charlie Kaufman.
Oh, yes.
Charlie Kaufman directed it. It's a bit of a psychological tale. It has one of the best scenes I've seen in cinema this year.
What scene is
from
that?
Tony Collette and David Thewlis at the dinner table. I thought it was phenomenal.
The problem with this film is I started off okay and it lost me very quickly.
It does lose it. It's like nothing ever reaches the heights of this one scene with Tony Collette and David Thewlis.
I think by the end of it, I was just like, just end it, and like I just lost all patience with this film.
And Adam was thinking of ending things, and he ended things.
Yeah. I made it to the end though. I watched it.
I remember Paul messaging in the WhatsApp group like halfway through the film, and I'm sure you were like, this could be my number 1 film of the year.
That is how I felt.
By the end you were like, nah.
Yeah. It never pays off. It, like, not paying off the scene, but it doesn't get anywhere close to how good that scene was.
Okay.
Because it's all very psychological, and everything's about mental states and dreams and...
Oh, sounds lovely. I like that.
Yeah, you might enjoy it then. At number 5, not number 5, at number 15, I have The Devil All the Time.
Do you know what? As soon as you were talking about thinking of ending things, this film immediately popped into my head, and I was like, I wonder if that film's made it to.
Because it's another Netflix original.
Yeah.
Yeah, another Netflix original. I very much enjoyed this film. I know. I think Adam didn't like it, and Ben, you're a little bit in the middle.
I was in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I like a dark, twisted tale. And
it just wasn't anything special.
I think Robert Pattinson was good, and
you know what it suffers
from?
from?
A bit of brutality.
The thing that it suffers from is that it is too indulgent. At 2.5 hours for that story, I'm sorry, you need to be something special.
That. Yeah,
and if you're going to drag out, just like another film we mentioned earlier today in WhatsApp, we were talking about Hush. That's only a 90-minute film, but fuck me, the concept should have been a short film. If you drag it out that long, you deserve deducted points for not being able to do something more with your story. And if you're 2.5 hours, you need to be epic. And I'm sorry, Devil All the Time is not epic. It's good, but it is not epic, and it needs an hour left.
It's still an 8 for me. It's still an 8. I thought it was an enjoyable story, some great acting, some brutal scenes. I love a bit of brutality, and that's as far as it goes, really. My number 14. This is very high up on Adam's list, I'm sure, so I will not speak about it, but it's Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I knew exactly as he said it's high up on my list. I was like, it's going to be this film here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll hold on that.
This will be an interesting one because this is my number 13. I don't know if it's high on anyone's list, but this is Tenet.
No, it's higher on your list than it is on my list.
Wow, okay.
Ooh,
so let's talk Tenet for a minute.
Okay. I very much enjoyed the concept. He thinks he's so smart. It's almost smug. It's so smart that it's smug.
I saw a tweet once that summed up this film, and it goes, imagine Christopher Nolan watching a normal film, how bored he must be. And it's kind of like, yeah, he must be bored. Like, because if he's coming up and thinking of this type of shit, then, like, I feel like I really need to watch Tenet again. Like,
I don't really feel like I need to watch it again. It was very much a roller coaster watching this. It was like my rating changed. Like it started off as like
exactly
a 7.
Why I want to watch it again.
Yeah,
I think there's some stuff that might pay off again. I feel like it would grow more, but there's so much. There's almost like so much to take in that you almost need to watch it again just to know. Okay, now we know that bit happened. I can focus on this bit now instead of trying to work out what just happened there, kind of stuff.
What the thing that it suffers from is it has a complicated plot, and it takes a while to understand what is happening. But on top of that, he really overcomplicates his dialogue. They use so
many technical terms that, yes, you probably know what they are, but they're unnecessary. And unless you really probably know the subject as well, you're not going to be able to think of it that quickly. They're just dropping all these little terms the whole time.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to keep up with the plot, then you're trying to keep up with their dialogue.
Yeah.
And
sometimes the dialogue's not even... It's like, I remember there's a scene where they're on the edge of a boat, aren't they? They're like, what's that?
That was the most incomprehensible scene. Yeah, I couldn't work out what the fuck's been said.
You can't really hear anything they're saying.
No.
And there's also a scene
when he woke up.
No, he's on a boat.
When they're on the boat, they're all on the boat.
They're like those hydrofoil boats, the ones that like glide on the water.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yes, yeah.
And they're talking and they're having a conversation about important shit. But there's so much noise going around it that you can't really hear what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
And also, there's a bit I didn't really notice it when I watched the film, and it didn't annoy me. But when I came out of cinema, someone pointed out to me, is at the end of the film, where did the army come from? The army they're fighting against, where did they come from? They just come out of nowhere. There's no hints at an army.
Fighting.
There's nothing.
They go to a different country,
and they're almost blowing up people that aren't even in buildings sometimes.
They go to Russia.
Yeah, and they're going. They got the the blue team and the red team, haven't they?
Yeah.
But who are they fighting
against this army? But like, where does this army come from, and who are this army? And like, is the army actually even there half the time? Because sometimes they're shooting at buildings, and there doesn't seem to be anyone in there, and you're not really seeing another army around them. I didn't notice it in the film. I was completely brushed over it, and I kind of accepted they were. But someone's pointed out to me afterwards, and I'm thinking in my head, yeah, hang on, they weren't actually shooting at anyone. There was an army there, but there wasn't an army there.
See, that last final act was where it lost me. When it was the second act, when they were in the car and he was, I don't want to ruin it too much for everyone, but the second act where they're trying to get something in a suitcase, that whole act with the two parts, I really, really enjoyed it. I was going with it so much. I was at a 9, and then it lost me that last bit. I didn't really know what the whole mission or what the point of it was, and but I did enjoy it to an extent, so that's why it gets the 8.
The surprising thing about this, listeners, is that the controversy around Tenet was that it was released into cinemas in the midst of this fucking pandemic, at a point where cinemas were either going to have to close or plough on. And regardless of Tenet being released, they were being told by the governments to open. So Tenet was released, right? And it was like a fucking barometer check to see if people would go out and see movies. People did, but not as much as Nolan would have got. But the thing about Tenet is, if this was the movie that was going to drive people back to cinemas and fucking save cinema, it should have been a better fucking movie. Because
maybe an Avengers film.
Maybe that would have got more money. But the trouble is, Christopher Nolan, I'm sorry, for the first time have I realised that this guy has an ego which is not justifiable enough to come out with films like this. You need to be more humble with the great films that you've made, but Interstellar should have been a little clue into the way that he was slipping, which is slightly pretentious filmmaking. And this, I'm sorry, was just some fucking professor at a chalkboard doing an equation. Why the fuck do I want to work that out? Why do I care about that?
I agree with that, yeah.
Just because someone says this professor's really renowned, this professor does great maths equations, well, I'm not interested in that.
Doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it.
No, and I didn't. For me, it never rose above an 8.
A balance almost, like Dunkirk plays on that time element enough to make it engaging and add another
well, see, there you go. That's fine. Engaging
it.
Tenet had no characters that you identify, not just because they're horrible, because they're nothing. They're fucking 2D.
He didn't build the characters enough.
It is for me one of his worst films, and a lazy, dull, boring film. And lots of people will give it extra rope because it's Christopher Nolan. And if it wasn't
Does it
fucking
make your
Nolan,
honourable mentions or your top 10?
No.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So let's go to my number 12 then?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, my number 12 is The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Okay.
I was actually, when I watched this, I was like, this is a 9. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, it's probably just a really high 8.
It's the kind of film, even without watching, that you watch it and you go, oh, that was really good. Then the next day you're like, oh, yeah, it was okay.
Yes, it is very well made, incredibly engaging, and I mean, Sacha Baron Cohen's so good in it. Everyone plays really great in this. And
yeah, but Eddie Redmayne,
even Eddie Redmayne does all right. He doesn't really say much, but Sacha Baron Cohen is the MVP in this film, and I had a great time with it. And I like
MVA.
What's MVA?
Most valuable actor.
Well, he's still a player in the film.
Yeah.
Or person, you can say.
Yeah, true.
But I like watching a little snapshot of history that I didn't know about. So.
It looks too dull to me.
Well, watch it and you'll find out.
I always thought it was a TV series for some weird reason.
That's because you think it's that other one, the other Netflix show.
I
think it's called The Trial of something as well.
I don't know.
The Trial of Generic Netflix Films.
So what is the film that just misses out then, Paul?
The film that just misses out on the top 10?
Yeah,
Invisible Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Adam had a nice chat about his film.
Yes.
Ben wasn't there for that podcast. But we had a great time. And you can go listen to that episode.
Yeah, it didn't make the top 10 because I wasn't on the podcast.
That's it.
Do you know what? This film, I gave it a 9 in the podcast, and it's been slipping down my lists ever since then, unfortunately.
Oh, shit. Is it still a 9?
On my letterbox, it isn't. I've rated it an 8 now.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
I rewatched it since.
You got a point, mate. You can deduct a point.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm thinking maybe it might be that. It might be something else.
Play tactically, Adam. Play tactically.
And that's it. That's my honourable mentions of 2020.
Oh, lovely.
Should I go on then?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
These are all 8s, by the way. Ranging from a very low 8 to a very high 8. My first one is a documentary. It's called LA Originals. And it's about a photographer and a tattoo artist who are growing up in LA when it's all kind of... The scene of LA is booming. Well, the rap scene of LA is booming, let's say. Like, you've got NWA coming on the scene, Snoop Dogg, all of these type of people, and they capture everything. So they're best friends, and he runs a tattoo shop. And this guy's a photographer, and he's basically hanging out in this tattoo shop, taking pictures of all these famous people coming in. And it's kind of got that barbershop feel of it. People will just come and hang out there. Like, his shop's just not a tattoo shop. It's just like almost a club almost as well. And it's just people hanging out there, just stories, people passing through. And he talks about how the scene has changed, how they've influenced it all. And it's quite an interesting documentary. Number 9 is in a music film. This film is called Letters to You. It's a Bruce Springsteen performing his new album.
Bruce
Springsteen.
You should say his name right.
What did I say?
Bruce Springform. Is that what you said?
Bruce Springsteen. He's in his barn in his house, and he's got the whole of the E Street Band there. He's performing his new album in the snow, and it's very lovely.
It's got Silvio in it, has it?
Yes, of course he's in there. He's part of the member of the band.
Of course,
he's one of his key men.
Did he have his bandana on?
He did have his bandana on. Yes.
Excellent.
Number 8 is
18.
That's going to be 18, sorry. I've got 1 to 10 on this, but that's what's confusing me. Number 18 is the first of a series of films that's going to make a lot of appearances in my top 20, and that's a Small Axe series. But at number 8, it's Red, White and Blue. 18, sorry.
The first Small Axe appearance.
Yes.
There you go.
And at number 17, I'm going to go straight into it, it's Education, so it's another Small Axe appearance, close to each other there.
Now, see, Education is out of the 5 Small Axes. I thought they were all good, but for me, it was the weakest, just because it was kind of like, well, this situation happened in schools at this time, but there was no real interesting story on the back of it.
I feel like Education for me it's a story you hear about, but it doesn't really... It's the first time I've seen it in that way. The only other time I've really had information on it is if you read Carla's Natives. He goes into quite detail about
totally, yeah.
that stuff, and he brings you stats and he brings you all of this up. That's the only other time I've really heard about this kind of subject. So it was quite interesting for me on that front, and that's what I think it kind of lasts for me. But Red, White and Blue, for example, on the other hand, you hear a lot about, and yeah.
I liked the concept of Red, White and Blue, having a black officer, seeing it from a black officer's point of view at a time when the Met in particular was being charged with incredible racism.
Yeah, I don't feel like you see that a lot. I feel like you see it a lot in American films. I don't feel you see that a lot in British films.
No, you don't.
Yeah, of course you don't.
That's why I feel like it was quite original.
This is why this series is so good, because it's always a side of Britain that no one's ever really made a film about.
Do you think the Small Axe films will take off overseas? Like, do you think they'll be well respected and understood in places like America and whatnot?
Well, I know it's got quite... Amazon. It's all Amazon make it in America, isn't it? Amazon have kind of put their name on it in America. The BBC have got it over here. So I'd imagine, knowing that Amazon are doing it, it will probably get quite a lot of publicity.
True.
Is it already released out in America?
I think it comes out... It might be coming out very soon in America.
That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. At number 16, it's Tenet.
Tenet,
David
good.
Tennant.
Yes.
That's at number 16.
That shit deserves to be in outside of the top 10, in honourable mentions at best, because of his pathetic offering in a year where cinema was so depleted.
He's still going on.
In a year when cinema was so depleted, Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan film, can't even crack the top fucking 10 of film busters. Pathetic, mate. Fuck
That
off
is
and never
crazy.
make a film again, you piece of shit.
Let's not go that far.
harsh.
I hate him. I want some originality, you absolute moron.
That
It
is
was
quite,
original,
it
at
is
least.
quite original.
He can piss off and suck my dick while he's at it.
Okay, let's move on to happier times. At number 15, it's the Beastie Boys story. I don't know if any of you have seen this yet.
Your
It's the
music
Beastie
content,
Boys.
mate. Fucking hell.
I
You've
do
been
love the
consuming
music.
musical shit this year. Wow.
He
I do
loves
love
it.
the music.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes, it's a Beastie Boys story. It's the two of them who were left, unfortunately. Well, the other one died, didn't he?
I never cared
yeah.
too much for their songs, I have to admit.
See, this is the thing. I did and I didn't. Like, they're good, fun songs. You listen to them and you talk about it, and it's quite fun to watch them, because they were just teenage lads who they kind of started the whole spoof songs. They made it and they became big out of it, and they were like, what the hell? And they always continue to be these idiots making films and just enjoying that life. And they were just they're just like 20-year-olds just getting paid to make music and just party and fuck shit up, and that's what people wanted,
I don't feel
wasn't it?
like they musically helped push the industry along in any way. Like, I can't imagine many people having been inspired by the Beastie Boys, you know what I mean?
I feel like they probably did and they didn't. People probably took it. Kind of probably was one of those ones where people then really think, if they can make it, I can make it.
Goldie looking chain.
Ugh. I hate comedy
That's a UK
music.
reference right there.
It is comedy music, man. Ugh.
At number 14 is a film. I think this might be on Ben's list. I'm not sure. And it's actually the third Apple TV film on my list. Actually, in my honourable mentions, they've done very well this year. It's On the Rocks.
I don't even know what this is.
Okay, it's on my list, but it's not as high up as it is on yours. Let's talk about it.
So this is Bill Murray and is it Rashida Jones?
Oh,
is
this
Jones's
film?
daughter.
Right.
Yes, and he's a dad who's just a bit of a dick, really, isn't he? He's a bit of a womanizer. He's very rich, and he's kind of just very nonchalant about life. and she believes her husband is cheating on her, but she can't quite prove it. So him and her, they go and they follow her husband and they try and work out what's happening. If he's cheating on her or
exactly.
not.
And that concept kind of works,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
There's Bill Murray as well, so he can kind of carry a film.
It's one of the
just
better
about-
things I've seen him in a long fucking
Yeah.
time, Bill Murray. And I was doubtful because Sofia Coppola, I don't really know too much of her directorial work. Like, I haven't even seen Lost in Translation yet. But this was
Okay.
strong. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very
strong,
good.
yeah.
Very, very good.
At number 13 is the film I've mentioned that's been slipping and slipping. It's Invisible Man.
There it is.
Invisible Man.
Invisible
Boy.
Bitch is slipping off
Go
the
watch. Go
scoreboard.
listen to the podcast.
Yep.
At number 12 and number 11, actually saying that, there's two films that were in my top 10 nearly all year until today. And I updated my list and they both slipped out. And that is 1917.
Oof.
Oh yes,
I don't know if anyone's probably got that higher than me.
I've got it in my list.
I've got it exactly where you've got it. Paul, is it in your
Okay.
top 10?
It's in my top 10.
All right, we'll
Okay,
wait and
we'll
talk
say
about
that
it then.
And number 11 is Lovers Rock, which is another entry in the Small Axe series.
Paul, have you got Lovers Rock higher than 11?
No, it's slipped out.
Okay,
Nice.
let's talk about it then.
Lovers Rock, again, in the Small Axe series. It's a party film. That's all you can say. It's about a house party happening, people having a good time, and there is a beautiful sequence, and I'm sure Ben will reenact it for us right now.
Yeah, you got a prayer, mate. Oh my God, I've never seen something
He's
so
sung
high
it all
pitched.
the time.
All
and
our
now
listeners'
it's-
glasses will shatter and splinter into the air. Oh,
Yes.
That's all I do.
it's one hell of
Yes.
a party film. It's true.
Just watch it. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to say too much more about that film, actually.
It's
All
definitely
right.
a ride.
But like what Ben said, just get a beer and sit down and enjoy the party.
Immerse
That
yourself.
is that
in
is
the party.
literally just what you got to do in that film.
It is.
Okay,
All right.
over to you then, Ben.
Where you made my list easier because I can just sprint through some things. So in spot 20, Small Axe, red, white, and blue. Don't need to say
Okay.
anything more than that. It's there's only 3 Small Axe films that made my top 20 of the year, and this was the third. Number 19, On the Rocks. I agree with everything you said. Number 18, Paul. I think this might be in your top 10, so we can talk about it then. Number 18 is True History of the Kelly Gang.
It's not in my top 10. No.
Oh, shall I talk about it now?
I didn't really. I thought it was fine. Didn't
Oh,
really like it.
okay, all right. So True
I
History.
thought it was fine as well.
True History of the Kelly Gang was one of the last press screeners I saw before the world shut down again. I really liked the style of it. It follows Ned Kelly, his rise from a kid to criminal outlaw. I liked the environment that he was in. It felt like a very Australian film. It felt very Australian. I liked the appearances of Russell Crowe and Charlie Hunnam throughout his life. And the guy, what's his name, Nicholas Hoult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Nicholas Hoult rocked up, I really, really liked it. I thought George McKay was better in this than he was in 1917, but 1917 was a better
Yeah.
film. I just appreciate
I
I
the
agree
agree
with
style.
that.
Yeah,
He could give
I
more
agree
of a performance in this film.
yeah.
We'll talk about 1917 in a bit, I guess.
I like the style of it. Anyway, that's that. Number 17, this is a film I saw at the London Film Festival, so I won't linger on it too much, but it was called Bad Tales. It's a Spanish film, and it's about... it follows the story of 3 or 4 kids entering puberty and their fucked up families and what becomes of their little neighbourhood because the parents are so disconnected from the kids. It has quite a fucking brilliant and shocking ending, which goes to show that parents fuck their kids up, as we all know. So I would check that out. Now, this is a hard recommendation to you, Paul, but not to you,
Okay.
Adam, because I don't think you will like it. It is Saint Maud, the
Oh, yes. I
British...
really wanna watch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
British horror film that sort of took the critical circuits by storm a few months ago. It is
It's
about...
number 16.
It's at number 16 on my list, and it's about a woman, a nurse, a carer who has lost her previous job for reasons you don't know. She takes on caring for a cancer patient in her well-to-do mansion on the seafront somewhere, and the nurse, the carer, is super religious. But it's very gritty, realistic British film that deals with some really supernatural elements. It is wonderful, very dark. Didn't quite break the 9 out of 10 barrier for me, but I recommend it highly to you, Paul. Adam, I don't think you'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's this and another film that I'm pretty sure you got on the list I really want to see.
All right, so in number 15, the third of 3 dementia-based films that are on my list.
Ooh.
Number 15 is Supernova, which is Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci as a gay couple who go on a road trip dealing with the fact that Stanley Tucci has just been diagnosed with early onset dementia. Fucking hell, help if I could speak. Having had a relative, my granddad, who suffered with dementia for the last few years of his life, this cut very close to the bone, but because it was a younger couple who were dealing with it, I thought that was an interesting spin on it rather than dealing with just the elderly. So there's a lot of emotional, heartfelt moments in it, and the performances are very, very strong. So I loved it. At number 14 is Lovers Rock, Small Axe. Yes, grab a beer, crack it open, listen to silly games, immerse yourself in the West Indian, North London party of a lifetime.
You're still not going to sing it, are you?
I'm not. And number 13...
Okay, let's keep moving on, Ben.
That was Adam singing. It wasn't me.
Number 13, I would love for this to have been in my top 10, because when I watched it, I was blown away. I'm still fucking blown away. It just can't break the top 10 for me for a few reasons. But number 13 is a film called Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets. And I've got to say, considering all the films that made it into my top 10, if I was actually going to recommend people seek out a film from 2020, it would be this one. Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets is set in Las Vegas over the course of 24 hours from dusk till dawn in a bar that's open 24 hours but is being forced to close. And it follows everyone who enters that bar from morning until night. And I had the absolute fucking pleasure of talking to the lead actor from it, Michael Martin, who plays a drunk at this bar, a homeless guy who spends all his time there, and he just floats from person to person. And the beauty of this film is, halfway through, I was like, is this a fucking documentary or a fictional piece? Because it's all so believable. And then the beautiful thing is it's both. It's a created situation. They basically told all these people that they found these real people and put them in the bar situation over 24 hours and said, just interact with everyone in there and we're going to film it. And we're going to keep playing music and we're going to keep feeding you. So just keep getting as drunk as you want, because we're going to film everything. And somehow they have cobbled together a beautiful like patchwork story of all these individuals. It's really awesome. Michael Martin is incredible in it. I did an interview with him a few months ago, which you guys can check out on our YouTube channel. It's a fascinating fucking film. I can't wait to own it. I highly recommend you check it out. Number 12 is 1917. Is this the highest it is?
It isn't. It's in my top 10.
Okay. And in number 11, which only just got pushed out of my top 10 over the weekend, is Uncut Gems. Is it high up on your lists?
It's high up on my list.
Okay.
We did a podcast on this
But
as
we've
well.
done a podcast on it anyway.
Yes, we have.
Okay, so shall we move on to our top 10 films released in 2020?
Yes,
Or
please.
2019, that kind of bridge over into 2020 sometimes, depending
Sometimes they come out at the end of 2019, yes, but they're released in 2020.
Yes, and for clarity, we are doing this based on UK release dates. So it's what was released in the UK in 2020.
Indeed.
So it'll be interesting to hear, considering this was a depleted year for cinema releases. What made the lofty positions?
Indeed. So how are we going to work this? We're going to all do our 10s, all do our 9s, all do our 8s, and so on.
Yes.
So shall I start at my number 10? My number 10 is The Lighthouse.
Bro, same here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh. But I
It
feel like
clinged on
I
by
feel
the
like
skin of its teeth.
Ben has it higher up, surely.
No, mate, I actually put it in my last year's 19.
Oh, yeah, you saw it at the film festival, didn't you?
Yes, so it ended up in all of our top 10s, basically.
Look at that. Well, The Lighthouse, yeah. That was a very
weird
very
and wonderful journey.
Weird and wonderful watch, yes.
That was a fucking
I really want
wonderful
to see it again. I'm really interested to see it again.
Yeah.
It's always one of those films again that once you've got your head around it and you know exactly what you're in store for, you can kind of then notice other parts of the film rather than trying to work out what type of film this actually is.
It is a nice film to sit back and just enjoy again, because now you've experienced it once. You can just kind of relax.
Yeah.
As we say, I love to relax into a film, and that's what sometimes elevates ratings.
Yeah, it's true. It certainly is an
OT.
immersive fucking film. You're there. You are on that island with them.
Yeah. Those noises, man. The noise of that horn.
Oh,
Yeah.
that fucking lighthouse horn, that blare is wonderful.
That's
all
one of the
very salty.
I think it was one of the last films I saw before lockdown. I think it was in that period. I remember sitting in the picture house and people were very confused that it wouldn't go. It wasn't 16:9. It was like 4:3 instead.
Yeah, that's true. It is 4:3 all the way through. That's
Yeah.
true.
I think it's just come on streaming somewhere. Is it Now TV?
I'm not sure, but I know Dan bought it on Blu-ray, so I'll probably rewatch it soon.
Yeah, I've got it.
It is on. Yeah, it's on Now TV.
Okay.
Just if anyone wants to watch it, it's on Now TV. It's a great little watch. Check it out.
I'll call it a little watch.
Willem Dafoe's very piratey.
Willem Dafoe is wonderful, man. The
He's
lines in there, it's almost like Shakespearean.
He's almost having. I always
Yeah.
feel like Willem Dafoe's having this little comeback. He's such
He is,
pop up
isn't
in
he?
Films, and you're like again.
When
like
has he
being
not
good?
been having a comeback? He's always he's on the pinnacle, mate. He's great.
Yeah, but there was a
He's
weird.
been
I think
seen a
maybe,
lot lately, though, right?
Yeah, maybe in the end of last decade, he kind of almost disappeared. But he's now popping up doing these weird indie films. He's kind of giving respect to films that might not have big actors in them.
Do you know
That
what
makes
Willem Dafoe is? Willem Dafoe is what Nicolas Cage wishes he could be. Nicolas Cage,
True.
Nicolas Cage tries really hard to be weird and strange, but every time you watch him, you're
Like doing
like,
indie
stop
films.
trying to be weird and strange. It just ain't working.
You're just a weird and strange man to start off with.
Yes.
can agree with that.
Willem Dafoe just naturally immerses himself into these roles, and you're like, fucking hell, you're unsettling, man.
It just feels like he really loves film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. So Lighthouse made it into all of our top 10s last year and this year. Wonderful.
Yes.
Beautiful stuff.
Props to the boys.
Over to you, Ben.
Oh, yeah, because you're done Lighthouse. Well, Adam, I might be saying nothing here because I think this is probably higher up in your list, but my number 10 is David Byrne's American Utopia.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's higher up in my
All
list.
right, we'll wait till Adam speaks.
Beautiful. Okay, my number 9. This it wouldn't be much interest to you, but this is Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. So this is basically the.
Is that on your
the
list,
DC
Adam?
It just missed out on the honorable mention now.
The DC animated universe. This was basically the last film in the run of films they did, and it's like its own Avengers kind of film, and the stakes are high and people die, and it's great film.
Okay.
That's all I have
Okay.
to say because no one cares apart from me.
Yeah.
I care to hear about
care.
it.
If you care, we care.
Yeah,
Aww, to an extent.
to an extent.
Okay. Number 9 on my list is a film we did a podcast on, and I imagine because Paul hasn't said it yet, it's going to be high on his list, and that is Uncut Gems.
Oh yes.
Okay. So are we holding
Yeah.
off till Paul? Is it higher on
Yeah.
your list,
Well-
Paul? Obviously,
well-
yeah.
We've had
done
a
the
podcast on
podcast
it anyway.
so
Oh, true.
we won't
yeah,
go
yeah,
too much
true.
detail, will we?
Okay. My number 9 is the new arrival that pushed Uncut Gems out of my top 10.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's the second film based around dementia, and it is a documentary that can be found on Netflix called Dick Johnson is Dead.
Oh,
I keep
yes.
seeing this pop up, and I'm
I wanna
always
see
interested
this.
in it.
I really want to see it.
It's real fascinating because a documentary maker discovers that her father has Alzheimer's, the same disease that her mother died of, and she decides along with him that she wants to chronicle the journey, but not in like a sort of morbid, this is a documentary
Yeah.
about Alzheimer's thing, more of a...
It seems like a happy film, and then you read the description of it.
It kind of
the
is.
poster looks popping.
It's a celebration of his life by accepting the fact that he's about to die. So what she does is she creates a number of situations in which her father dies, and she films her father dying in loads of situations, like falling out of windows, getting a nail stabbed into his neck, having a heart attack. And it's wonderful because she films with her real father in documentary settings. So you're watching the documentary and then all of a sudden her dad will just die. And you realise they brought the stunt people in. And it's really fucking disarming and emotional because it really connects you to what she's going through. At the same time, while they're making this documentary, his Alzheimer's starts getting worse. And the line begins to
wow.
blur between what he's accepting and willing to do for camera and what he thinks is actually happening. Like there's one scene where he gets impaled in the neck with a nail, but in the middle of the scene, he sees all this blood all over him, and he thinks he's actually bleeding to death. And she's like, "I'm not sure if we can continue making this documentary." But anyway, it's a great celebration of life. It's an acknowledgement of how fucking hard it is to go through watching a loved one slip away to that fucking evil disease of dementia and Alzheimer's. I highly recommend it for both of you. I think you'll both really enjoy it.
I really want to see that.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay, so it's number 8, and my number 8 is a Disney Plus film.
Ooh.
It better not
Alexander
be Mulan.
Hamilton.
That's my number 8 as well.
Way!
That's interesting because it goes up on my list.
Oh, we have to wait till
okay.
Adam then.
Okay, we'll wait.
Wow.
Go on, Adam. What's your number 8?
My 8 is Palm Springs.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of this film.
Yes.
This is the Groundhog Day with the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes. So
Andy
it is.
Samberg.
It is at its core effectively a remake of Groundhog Day, but again, it's not trying to be Groundhog Day. It's got its own ideas and it's got its own fun. And I know you like Andy Samberg, don't you, Ben?
Yeah.
So you probably enjoy him in this. But yes, he's describe it just kind of a short way. Yes, he's in Groundhog Day from the beginning. You watch the film, and I don't want to spoil it actually, but yeah.
But the concept is
Events
the day
unfold.
keeps looping, is it?
The day keeps looping, but they do their own thing with it. It's got its own way and its own fun and games with it.
Wow, we were.
Yeah.
I agree. It's just a fun watch of a film. It's funny. It's got heartfelt moments in it. It's great. I recommend watching it.
It's on Netflix, yeah?
No, it's not on Netflix. No.
Oh.
No, it's what is it on? Because I keep seeing it pop up in places.
Is it
and I
Prime?
realise I
I'm
must
not
watch
sure.
it.
I can't remember where we watched it, but Dan had it, so probably naughty actually.
Dan had it. Translation, you found a fucking stream.
I didn't find no stream.
I ain't find no stream.
Fucking Ghostbusters out.
Yes. The thing is about Andy Samberg is he strikes me as someone that I shouldn't like, yet I do like him.
That's why it's always surprising me when you do like him.
He seems like someone that
Watch
Paul would like.
Popstar, and then you will not like him.
I've seen Popstar. I do still
did
like
not
him.
like
Popstar's okay.
Popstars is okay.
Popstar's,
Yeah.
It's very aware of what it is. He's not trying to.
That's like saying disaster movies aware of what it is.
Yeah, sometimes they are.
Popstars was just
Armageddon
fine.
was.
He's too good in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's just wonderful in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They
I
are. So.
like him. He's good in Lonely Island, so I appreciate.
Yeah, do you like the Lonely Island songs? They're funny.
Yes.
They're
He's
shit.
very funny.
I don't like comedy music.
It's okay when it's in a three-way.
Anyway,
When you're
my
on a
number
boat.
8 is Hamilton, so I'm not speaking again. Paul, you're number 7.
Okay, my number 7. This is a film I watched just the other day. It was very enjoyable, and it's Jojo Rabbit. But I think this might be high up in Adam's list.
It is higher up in my list.
Yes, so we'll talk about it then.
Wow, Paul's not getting a chance to speak about it. It is because Adam's got them all higher.
I did this on purpose.
All right, Adam, number 7.
Number 7 is Hamilton.
Okay.
I'm going to try and beat around the bush.
here we
and
go.
just come out straight away. Yeah, it's Hamilton. It didn't make it much higher up the list, but it made it higher up the list.
So what did you
I
give
like how-
Hamilton?
It's a 9.
Yeah,
These
a
are the
9.
beginning of my 9s now. So the other 8, 9 and 10 were all 8s, and this is now my 9s.
You were very unsure what to give this a rating as because you felt like
Yeah,
it wasn't
was-
a film.
Yes, I was very confused by this film. It's like, it's almost cheating. And that's why I almost feel like my music, I've got
why?
so many of these music films up here. Because
That's like
you go
saying
to
a documentary's
theatre,
cheating.
But you go to a theatre, you're going to have a good time. You're 99% of the time, you are going to have a good time at the theatre. Just because of the atmosphere it brings. So to then translate that into a film, you know the film is going to be good from the beginning.
Yeah, but it
It's
still
very-
has to
it's
work,
very
man.
rare.
It still has to work
It has
as a
to work,
piece.
but it's
They still created the script.
Yes, but the script is the Broadway film. They didn't create it for a film. They created it for Broadway.
Just because they filmed it doesn't mean it's not. It's not
I
an
know
experience.
it's one of these films that is kind of like, yes,
Anyway,
I don't know.
did you like to be in the room where it happened?
Yeah,
Did you,
So,
Ben?
yeah, I wanted to be in the room where it happened, but more importantly, I was willing to wait for it.
we just
Wait for
saying
it.
quotes
Wait
from the
for it.
film
Wait
now.
for it.
Wait for It is the better song, but the room where it happens is great as well. But the star of that fucking show is Odell, man. Odell, and I'll tell you this much: this ain't the last time that he appears on my top 10 list. Not Odell.
Hey.
What's his name?
Okay.
Leslie Odom Jr.
Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah.
I would.
There's a reason
I would
why
say
I've written down.
my favourite in that is what's his name? Daveed Diggs.
Yeah.
He's my favourite in Hamilton.
Of course he is. And you know why? Because he's flamboyant and over the top. Just like
Yeah,
Jim
that's me.
Carrey.
That's me.
Any character
That
in
is
a
our
film
character,
who's
look.
over the top wacky, that's you.
I'm flamboyant and over the top. That's me. How do you relate it to your man?
Because he's quiet and introspective and thinks he's above everyone else.
There you go. It works. Who's your favourite character, Adam?
I'd be Lin-Manuel then.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
you would
boring, mate.
actually. Yeah. Cheating on your
He's
wife,
boring.
filthy peasant.
Boring, cheating on his wife. And
Wrote everything, star it
not-
all,
Not the
choreograph it,
best
write the
singer.
songs.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing about Lynn, isn't it? That he wrote all those lyrics, he created that fucking thing, but he just can't sing, unfortunately.
No.
So he comes across as very weak.
Yeah.
And I hate when he tries to be gangster in it because it's like, you're so not.
I know, it doesn't
That
really
at
work.
first, that did not work for me at first, but by the time the film goes on, you kind of accept it a bit more.
Yeah. The other one is that the party scene where everything goes in reverse and then your woman starts singing
I
that
love
fucking
that.
song.
That is
Oof.
my favourite part.
Yeah, it's strong.
I love it.
The stage design, production, all that was great. I did not stop listening to those songs for like weeks afterwards. My Spotify year in review is fucking cluttered with Hamilton songs, man. It's like, here's your most played album, most played artist, all of that shit.
You had that at a 10 though, didn't you? And you brought it down.
I brought it down. I was carried away. And I fully acknowledge that the scores that I've given this year, I've changed during the year because there is an instinctive response sometimes. Sometimes it holds, but sometimes it's like, nah, that ain't true.
Especially in the time of COVID times when everything's a bit dull and you're looking for that excitement. It's like, wow,
That's true.
look at that.
Yes, that's true. Well,
Okay.
that's good. Hamilton on all of our lists. Wow.
Lovely.
What's your number 7?
My number 7 is Blow the Man Down, which I think Paul already mentioned.
Yes, I mentioned that. That was in my honourable mentions.
So Blow the Man Down, I guess the best thing I can say about it, to put it into context for you, is imagine a lighthouse, but 2 young girls and much lighter. Because it's a sea shanty of a kind of like mythical fairy tale to be told. And I loved the intrigue of it, and I loved the female-centric storyline and performances. And I thought it had a really strong, empowering ending as well. I thought it was very, very clever. It didn't necessarily do anything particularly new with the narrative, which I know is what Paul you said to me at the time after you watched it. But what I liked was the different perspective, and because of the nature of it being about these 2 sisters as opposed to 2 brothers, it didn't feel like it was just a gender swap story. It felt like this story could only really exist if it was a female cast. And it kind of didn't really get any exposure at all. And I think that's kind of criminal. I liked it very, very much. And it had the girl from Brody's daughter from Homeland in it, which was a surprise to me because I ain't seen her in shit since then.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that Timothée Chalamet was her boyfriend in Homeland for seasons upon seasons before he made it big? I didn't even realise this till the other day, yeah.
Really?
Timothée Chalamet's in like 8 episodes of Homeland as her boyfriend.
Odd. No, I never knew that.
Anyway, Blow the Man Down, very strong.
All I remember about
lots
that
of
film is
fun.
the very, very, very last scene.
That last scene is very good for me. I enjoyed
It
it.
blew the man
Not even the
down.
last scene, the very last shot even.
Yeah.
It's like, bam, you almost think the film's over and they just kind of hit you
Yes.
that other little...
And that's what I liked, the sentiment of that final scene. Like, without spoiling anything, all of those women that we've encountered throughout the storyline outside their houses, seeing these 2 sisters and being like, okay, we got you. We understand.
yeah.
We're in solidarity with you here. I
that
like
was strong.
that a lot. So that was my number 7.
Number
Okay.
7. My number 6. This has been mentioned, and it's 1917.
Ooh.
Okay.
Has Adam got
See,
it higher?
I don't think anyone's got it higher, have they?
No.
Oh,
It was number
okay.
12 for
All
me.
right, go.
No. This is number 6. Okay, so cinematography of this film's great. I can understand the failing is in its. I know this is what Adam thinks. The failing in it is in its. Did you think it's the failing in its characters that they're not very engaging?
Yeah, it was almost a bit like we kind of described about Tenet. It's like it's too technical based in some ways, and the characters just flow with the story. In my
And
opinion,
you think there's no stakes as well. That's what you said.
well, obviously the stakes were removed as soon as spoilers here. As soon as his friend dies, because you're like he has to make it to the end now, or else we have no film.
But then I feel like that you could say that about any film, because if there's a main
Yeah,
character,
but this is a film. It's a war film. You got to believe these people are on the edge of their lives like all the time, and sometimes.
But didn't
I felt like it was erratic, and the
Yes.
cinematography was amazing.
But the thing is, it doesn't. It almost feels like as soon as you're watching the film, there's only one pathway. It's like you are walking on that one pathway. Sometimes when you watch a film, you could have the main pathway, but then you could only see like, oh, there's a side turning up there. The film could go down there. It could go down here. But the whole film, it always just kind of felt like he was almost pushed along a corridor, and that was it. And he was
but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It feels almost like a computer game where you're like, this is the way you're going,
a little
and just
bit.
follow the path. But
I thought that was what really worked in its favour, though, man.
100%. I like.
It was like an immersive personal war
I'm not
story.
saying it's a bad film at all, but I feel that's where it kind of lost its edge on me. Like that little, yeah.
The thing is, after his friend dies, I thought the stakes were still there because it was like, well, even if he gets there, is he going to get there in time to pass on that message before they
Yeah.
go over?
Yeah.
You know?
But even still, it's not even about is he going to survive? Is he going to get there? I'm just like, oh my god, look at the shit he's going through, and it's
And also-
non-stop.
This film was advertised extremely heavily, and the best part of the film was in the trailers, and you saw it repeatedly everywhere. And that is the bit where he runs across the line at the end.
I don't
he
think it's the
gets
best part.
But it means it's the most impressive part. It's like you're in the cinema, you're going to see this film, you want to see that.
For me,
But you see it a lot.
the whole moment then when they get there, when they go over the top at the beginning of the film and they start having to walk that uncharted path, that was tense and it was so immersive.
Yeah.
Those trenches have never felt so real, never felt so fucking
Yeah.
real.
It was the nighttime bit that was brilliant for me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The bit where he crosses the bridge and everyone just starts shooting him, and he's just on enemy territory, and he has to go into the house, and then everyone's shooting him, and he's running through. That's great.
The scene that didn't work, the big scene that I didn't like, was when he encountered that woman.
Oh, when he's
her
in the
baby.
basement. Yeah, it kind of just
That was
it slumps a
contrived.
bit. It does slump a bit. Yeah,
I didn't care for that. That's
and he has
why
the
it
milk.
got held
He already
back,
has
I
the
think.
milk for her.
And I didn't like the singing when he turns up at the camp and that guy's singing. I didn't like it.
Yeah, but that happened though, probably, didn't it?
It's because it's so erratic that those small slow moments kind of feels like, oh, now we stop now. You're right, because that's what you're thriving on. You're thriving on the thrill of the chase, and
Yeah.
you need to get there. Don't stop, just keep going.
What's nice is when you think that he didn't get... the film begins with him opening his eyes under a tree and they never close again until he fucking gets to a tree. He doesn't sleep until
Oh,
he
he doesn't, does he?
gets to that tree.
Yeah,
He gets knocked unconscious for a bit.
That's true. Unconscious. Yes, that's true. Yep. And actually, that's the other thing, isn't it? We forgot about the fact that it was billed as like pretty much like one shot, which obviously it
Yeah.
wasn't, but it did look good the way they
yes,
did it.
it did.
That's what
It was
kept you
very
in
well
it.
done. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I thought it was special. I think the only other war film I've seen that's better than it is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Saving Private
See, I
Ryan's
thought
better,
Dunkirk was better.
I still haven't seen it.
You ever seen Dunkirk?
I'm boycotting Nolan for crimes.
Watch
crimes.
Dunkirk, my boy.
Go on, number 6, Adam.
Number 6 for me is a war film. Paul's mentioned it already. It is Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to talk too much of this film because I don't know. To be fair, I actually don't even know if I want Ben to watch it
I don't think I want to watch
You don't want
it.
to ruin the magic.
because he's already not on board with it before he started, and I'm like, you just leave it alone then.
Tell
That's a
me,
bad
tell
start.
me,
It's gonna be
tell
a
me in a
miserable,
sentence
grumpy-
what the film's about.
Heart and love.
It's
No,
about
but-
a little boy who's an Aryan Nazi who wants to be a Nazi.
He's
He's in a
part of the
Nazi
Hitler
training
Youth.
camp, but he's all a bit shit at being a Nazi. He has an imaginary friend who's Hitler, but he's not the real Hitler. He's kind of like his own imagination of Hitler and what he
If
thinks
a
he's
kid,
like.
if a 10-year-old kid imagined Hitler, and they spoke about the things that 10-year-old kids talk about, and yes,
And he finds
and
a
his-
Jew in his wall.
his mum is hiding Jews in her loft, and he's talking to this girl, and obviously this kid's a Nazi, and she talks to him about the life, and she realizes the out of the world, and it takes the brainwashing away from him. My boy, it's got a lot of heart, and it's Taika as well, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, I like Taika.
I was with this. I was on an 8 for this until literally the last scene. I was like, okay, this is a 9.
Because
It's
he
probably just
because he
made the
dances
9.
on the girl's doorstep. Is that why? Yeah, because he's
No,
there
can't-
clicking.
you-
Because he's
Ben,
clicking
Ben,
his
Ben,
fingers on the
you
girl's
can't-
doorstep. Yeah.
You can't describe this scene without actually watching the film. It wouldn't make sense. I could tell you
Yeah,
what
it
happened.
would make sense
But
to you.
you can't watch the film and it won't.
I'm not making any judgments. I'm saying, is that why? Because he was
That
clicking his
is, that
fingers
is,
on the
that is
doorstep.
a bad
yeah?
thing that you've googled and
It's not that
YouTubed.
it's
I
not
haven't
the girl's
googled
doorstep
that. No, I
stuff.
haven't
It's-
googled
it's
that.
a
Do you want to know
doorstep.
what? It's in the fucking trailer all over the place, and it's clear
It's
as day
a
that that's the
doorstep.
ending.
It's a doorstep, but it's not the girl's doorstep.
Yeah, it's true. That's the wrong doorstep.
Well, I don't give a fuck.
You watch it, my boy. If you maybe over Christmas, watch it.
Do you know
It's
what's
on Sky, I think.
interesting? Oh, I'm not even going to say it. Never mind.
Obviously not
Yeah,
interesting.
you shut up there. I've had enough of you with this film.
There's a reason why I don't want to touch this with a bit of a barge pole, and it's because I believe that we're at a point, right? And this will be our most controversial point of this episode.
Go on.
We're at a point where stories of human suffering and terrible things that have happened, right, are broader than Hollywood has told us they are to this stage.
Of course they are.
So I would rather see. I've seen stories of suffering during the war. I'm aware of what happened during the Holocaust. I understand that's bad, of course, and I've seen that and I've identified with those stories. But I would like to see some stories of the real fucking suffering that is now taking place in the world.
Yeah, but that doesn't sell, so they're not going to make it. That's the end of the day. That's what's happening.
Exactly. But I don't go to see films just because they sell.
If you watch this film, Ben, and it doesn't win you round in the slightest way,
I'm a
I would
Nazi.
be very surprised. Yes,
Okay.
you're a Nazi sympathiser.
Yes, that'll be the only way. That'll be the only reason.
It's on Sky Movies at the moment.
What number was that, Paul?
That was number 6.
6 for Adam.
Oh, that was you, Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay, go on, Ben. It's your number 6.
My number 6, but I won't be talking because one of you two will, is Mangrove.
Okay.
Okay, so one of you will talk about Mangrove. We'll talk about that after.
Okay, my number 5. This is an episode we've done. It's Uncut Gems.
Oh, okay.
Is this the highest then?
Yes.
Okay. How do you
Yeah, it's
feel
the
about Uncut Gems now, considering it was almost a year since we watched it? It was one of the first films we covered in 2020 before the world went to shit.
Have you rewatched it since?
No.
Yeah, I'm a lot fonder of it. I've watched it since.
You're fonder
So I
of it?
rewatched it and I liked
Yes.
it again. It holds up just as well the second time round.
Yeah, haven't
And
rewatched
that
it.
end scene is even... Again, it kind of elevates because you know what's coming now.
Yeah, I see. When in that episode, we actually spoke about it not holding up the second time round because you won't have that kind of feeling
The
of what's
stakes.
going to happen and the stakes.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it still works. It still does work.
I remember having that conversation. Okay, that's interesting.
I very much enjoyed it. But we spoke a lot about this film, so you can check out the podcast, Uncut Gems. It's a
Yes.
banger.
What's annoying, though, is just as you would expect, Adam Sandler does Uncut Gems and then he comes out with fucking Hubie Halloween 8
Well, it's
months
what he
later.
said, didn't he? He said, if you don't give me an Oscar nomination for the film, I'm going to release one of the worst films ever.
That little son of a bitch was always going to make Hubie.
I would not give anyone an Oscar if they said that.
No.
I'll be like, fuck off. Never make another film again then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrible child.
Okay, so number 5 for me is... I feel like it's going to come up on Ben's list a bit higher. We did a podcast on it. We had a very special guest on this podcast of this one, and it's One Night in Miami.
Oh, it's on my list. It's higher up. We'll get to it.
We'll talk about it.
It's now. It's out Boxing Day.
Oh, yeah, it's Boxing Day,
Something
I
like
think.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, my number 5 is, and this can be viewed on Amazon Prime. You have to purchase it, but it's available. It's Possessor. It's directed...
Yes, this is the other film.
Have you got it on your list?
Yeah, this is the other one I wanted to watch. That I thought was going to be on the list. Yeah.
So, no spoilers, obviously. David Cronenberg's son, Brandon Cronenberg, takes some of the best bits from his dad's work with like body horror and what the human body can go through and turns it into some fucking neon psychotic horror thriller. It's brilliant. It's immersive. It leaves you fucking on edge. And it basically goes to show, you know, if someone was in control of your body or if you were in control of someone else's body, where do you stop and where does that person begin and vice versa? Like, how do you keep a hold of yourself? It's nightmarish. It's very, very good. It kind of reminds me of all of Cronenberg's films. It reminds me of A History of Violence, if you've ever seen that, with Ed
Yes.
Harris. Strangely,
Yes.
it's like that rather than any of Cronenberg's more sci-fi work. But I highly recommend it. It's stuck in my head because it is a bit of a mind fuck and a bit of a mind bender. It's something that you would want to rewatch. Totally, one watch
Do you
is not
think
enough.
Adam would like it?
I sound
Adam-
very interested by it.
Yeah, Adam would
like
probably
it.
like this one. Yeah, because it's not horror. I wouldn't say it's like sci-fi.
Okay.
Like The Fly.
Yeah, it's unsettling stuff, man. It's like a sci-fi version of Drive mixed with like
Fly.
body horror. Yeah, mixed with The Fly. It's good. It's very, very good. Highly recommend. 9 out of 10.
Definitely want to watch
Okay.
that. My number 4. This is another podcast episode we've done.
Oh.
This is My Baby, Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. You said that so sheepishly.
No, I
Yeah,
said
you
Birds
should
of
be
Prey
kind
because it's not about being What are you talking about? You like that film?
I know, but you said it sheepishly.
Boy,
No, I
you're
said
putting
Birds
it
of Prey
up
with a
there.
smile on my face. I said it's
Oh.
My Baby, Birds of Prey.
You went quiet.
Yeah, you went very quiet. Like, oh, I'm sorry to be mentioning this. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm not sorry about mentioning this.
You
I'm
are.
happy.
It came through in your voice. You hate it. It's not featured in mine or Adam's top 20 of the year, mate.
It's a bold 9 out of 10.
Bollocks.
It's a great film. Margot Robbie's amazing in it, and it's fucking a hell of a lot of fun.
Do you know, is it fashionable to say Margot Robbie's amazing in everything nowadays? People just
Huh?
like to say that Margot Robbie's amazing in everything.
She's not amazing in everything.
She's not amazing in this. She's annoying half the time.
Yeah, but she's amazing at being Harlequin, and Harlequin is annoying, so
Oh, well, that's all right then.
yeah, it's fine. She does the job.
We've got a podcast on this.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can check out the podcast
Just
episode.
before we go back into these
we
details.
have a little argument about DC and Harlequin and everything surrounding that. These guys are Marvel lovers, so
I'm not.
They don't like
I'm
DC.
not. I'm not a Marvel lover at all. If I had to pick a side, I'd be DC.
oh, you like DC?
Of course,
Oh, thanks. Cool. Let's move on then.
of course. You'll lose a
I just wanted to
supporter.
end on a positive note.
Yes.
Okay, number 4 for me is a film Ben mentioned. I don't know if it's going to come up on Paul's list any higher, but it's Mangrove.
It is. It goes up higher on my list.
Okay, so we'll leave it then.
So my number 4, I believe, was on Paul and Adam's list last year, but I only saw it at the beginning of this year, and it is Parasite.
Yes, boy.
Parasite,
Very good.
for the longest time, was holding that number 1 spot, and I was sure nothing was going to shake it off. But a few things came along that tickled my fancy. Everyone knows what Parasite's about. They know the deal.
We spoke about it last year at some detail, didn't we? So
Exactly. It's held up well, and since it was on your list last year, it won the fucking best Oscar
yes.
for best
I
film.
watched that back in like October or September last year. Now it's crazy.
That's right.
Incredible.
You got a screen. Did you go to a press screening of it?
Yeah. It was in some hotel off Oxford Street.
Nice.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Noish.
So big props to Parasite. Nothing more needs to be said on that one.
Everyone knows how good that film is.
Yes.
Is it number 3?
We're
Is it
on
my
number
top 3?
3. We're in to the
Oh,
Filmbusters
the
top
top
threes.
Wow. Well, my number 3, you have to go into blind because it's Bacurau.
Oh, Bacurau Blind.
Bacurau Blind.
I'm surprised this doesn't actually go in any of your lists.
I'm sorry.
I'm very
Do you know
upset.
what? It was released in. I looking for my list. It was released in 2019, so I think that's why it didn't go on my list.
It's 2020, mate, for us.
The UK released 2020.
Yeah, but
Look
it
at
was.
that. It would have gone on your list. Where would you put it if it was in your list?
It would be in my honourable mentions. It would probably go. Let's say probably 13th, maybe. Actually saying that, but above Invisible Man and below 1917.
That's good. I'll have that. So this is, for anyone who
Are you
doesn't
sure
know,
it wasn't? Okay, I'm not going to argue.
Yes, it's 2020.
Points over it. Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know what Bacurau is, you can check our episode out. But it's a little mind-bending Brazilian film, hyper-violence. We spoke in depth about this film, so go check the episode out. But you probably want to watch it first because you will not understand what the hell's going on otherwise.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama loves it.
He does.
Yes, he does. He put it
He
in his
does.
list.
It was in his top film list, wasn't it?
Yes, isn't that enough to make you want to rip it out of your top 10?
I'm my own person.
It's if
I'm sure Barack Obama loves Home Alone.
I'm sure he's listening to this. I'm thinking, oh shit, I didn't put that film on there.
Do you want to know what Jamie tweeted an hour ago?
Go on.
I'm going through some of the world cinema choices for Filmbusters pod. Really enjoyed the Burning episode and thought Adams was closer to my rating of the film. But I'm about to go Bacurau blind this evening to watch Bacurau. Jamie's
Jesus.
watching Bacurau as we speak.
Well, I'm really
perhaps.
happy for him because he agrees with me, so that's a good start.
He didn't say anything about me. I'm chopped liver.
I think
Yeah,
he's
you
going
are.
to give it.
You're an
He's
idiot.
going to give it the 10.
It's very possible.
Do you think so?
Well,
Yeah.
good for Bacurau. I mean, it was an interesting watch. I enjoyed watching it. I did really enjoy it, and don't really have anything negative to say to it. It just didn't make the top 20. Of the top 20 is very competitive this year.
This
It is
is.
indeed.
Okay, number 3 on my list is a World Cinema film, actually, saying that.
Ooh.
Paul mentioned it. It made his honourable mentions. It's A Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh yes.
See,
Tantalize
Have you
me
seen
without
it?
spoiling it, because I really want to see this, but don't spoil it.
so this is a film I thought maybe looking at it and you read descriptions, I wouldn't be too interested in. But my boy, it resonated. There was something about that story and the connection between them that I felt and I put into many situations of your life. And like it was just a beautiful love story.
Am I being judgmental to say that I'm surprised that you have in your third spot a period piece?
Same, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I just said. Like if you read the description to me and you showed me it, I probably wouldn't be overly keen on the film. I'm not. Period pieces are probably one of my least favourite genres of cinema. There's many films I haven't watched because they're period pieces as well. But yeah, and that's why it's so surprising that it is there, and I think that's almost why it won me round a bit more, because I'm like, this was good, and it's won me round. If it can overcome those consequences, then it's a good film.
So again, without spoiling things, I guess is the reason that it is so strong because it's dealing with a lesbian relationship at a time when such things were never spoken about.
I think it's more the depth
Maybe-
of emotion.
Maybe yes, but it's more the way for me, it's more the way they connected as a relationship. It's the
Okay.
love that they had and the way it's shown, and I'll just watch it. I'd say, yeah, it's
Okay.
brilliant. It kind of hit me. It's like what you said about the face of love. You kind of took it like the personal level that you connected with. The
Yeah,
film,
it
took it
either
above.
hits you or it doesn't.
Yes, but there's still a very good film underneath this film. I'd say, even if you didn't connect, you'd still enjoy it on another level.
Very good. My number 3, I know Paul has seen this film and finds it hard to talk about or rewatch, is a film called Lynn and Lucy. It's a British film. And actually, our friends over at Movie Drone, one of the guys' niece was was one of the actresses in this film, which I didn't realise until
really?
a few weeks ago. Oh, yes.
Wow.
So, Lynn and Lucy, without going too detailed into it, is a film of childhood friends who've been friends since they were like school kids. They live very opposite each other on a street. They're both working class mothers, and something terrible happens to one of the mother's kids. And it's about what happens in the very small community on the back of that. I fucking loved it because of how gritty and bleak and depressing
Yeah.
it was, but
So harrowing.
how truthful it fucking felt. It felt completely genuine. And these actors, for the most part, particularly Lynn and Lucy, I think both of them had never acted before, and they aren't actresses. They were just sort of like, I think it's what they call street casting, where someone was just seen and they were like, "You look perfect for this role. Can you be in the film?" And that made it even more genuine because they didn't have
I think it's
any
come
of
on
the...
BBC iPlayer recently.
Yeah,
It
it
was on
probably is,
BBC
mate.
the other day.
It probably is.
So
It's hard. It's hard going.
It is.
But I fucking love it. I mean, Paul in particular will find it hard going as a parent. But I think it's really grueling. It really puts the ideas of friendships to the test. What you are and aren't willing to do for a friend. How far you would go to defend them, but also how far you would cross your own moral line to ingratiate yourself with people who you think are rallying around to support you. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting insight into the human psyche, because this one woman who's left to deal with and make the decisions in the situation is kind of like, she's in a rocky relationship, she's in a rocky friendship, and she's got rocky work colleagues. And it's about her trying to anchor herself amidst all of that in this nightmare scenario. Very, very huge fan of it. Loved it very much. It was a 9 out of 10.
Beautiful stuff.
lovely.
Paul has it at number 1 this year.
No, I had it in my honorable mentions. I already mentioned it.
Oh, did you? Sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What number was it?
I had it at number 19.
Oh, very good. All right, then. Your number 2.
Okay, my number 2, very beautiful, a documentary, David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet. I thought it was this planet. A Life on Our Planet.
That's
David
exactly
Attenborough.
where I have that as well, Ben. Paul,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, he's a lovely man, beautiful man, and it just shows you what humans have fucking done to this planet. And
If it doesn't make you save the planet, then nothing will.
yeah, it's not only beautifully shot, it shows the horror of this earth and what we've
What's to
created
come.
on this planet, what have we done and what is to come. Yeah, and yeah, it's scary stuff.
That's kind of why we haven't watched it. I'm kind of cool with it, but Jenny doesn't like to watch things that linger too much on that sort of level of negativity. Because in a way, I get it. Because she says,
though, there's some beautiful
No,
moments in it. But
it is more what you can do to change the planet. It's
Like,
not like
yeah,
this
I
is
know
what
what-
you're doing.
but when you're already doing stuff, right? When you're already doing stuff and you're already progressive, to see that repeated,
Yeah,
I
I
kind
know.
of get where she's coming from. Because the reality is, in all of those Blue Planet and Planet Earth episodes, they always end with a hint of that this is dying because of the choices that human makes. And there was that one episode where he focused on humanity, and it's like, okay, we know we're fucking the game up. We know this. No one can be surprised by this. So to watch that documentary from David Attenborough, I'm sure, again, he'll be spitting facts and it will all be very harrowing and truthful. But to me, kind of like your reaction, Paul, that to watch that documentary would be how you reacted to Lynn and Lucy. It's like, this is a fucking terrible experience. I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel that you have to experience it though. This shit should be shown in schools.
yeah.
People
Before
need
I
to
watched
know.
this
What's
documentary,
new
I
in
was
this?
like,
What's new in this that people really don't know now about climate?
People
it's only
don't
for
know,
people,
Ben.
Yeah, but it's
People
only for
don't
the
know.
ignorant. It's only the
It is.
ignorant.
That's why they need to show it in schools,
Okay, that's fine.
because parents don't teach their children this shit.
the only problem I've got with all of this is, again, it's one of those documentaries that says, like, what can you do as an individual person? But I say most people, an individual person, they do what they can do to an extent.
Yes.
No, they don't, mate.
You
They don't.
recycle. You try and buy as nice stuff as you want, but the problem with most of it is it's got to be. There's people that, not I'm saying governments, but companies, man. It's like these people are the big polluters. Like, you look at,
Yeah.
and you're making these products. Like, make a Coke bottle recyclable. Like, come on, man. Coke make enough money, they can research to make a Coke bottle recyclable. That is where the thing has got to happen. That's where the change has got to be. Yes, you can buy from these companies that do this already, but you can't. There's only a certain way you can go about your normal life without it taking over your life as well. Like, but since watching this documentary, well, I was really starting to become probably a bit vegetarian, since this has kind of confirmed it. And you do your best to change your diet around all of this, because you know the impacts it's going to have and the help it's going to have on your life. But without changing your whole lifestyle to accommodate this, it's very easy to do when you're at home and you're doing your things. But when you're suddenly on the go, that's when stuff like that becomes harder. And again, that's where the buck. We're not going to get into politics here, but the buck needs to go higher up. These companies are all like, what can you do as an individual person? But as an individual person, you're probably not causing as much pollution as all of those guys at the top combined.
The thing is, you need to make people angry, right? You need to make the people angry, because just like, I can't remember what the show's called, but I think it's on BBC or ITV or something. But it's about recycling or basically something along those lines. But anyway, it says about tea bags, right? And how half of them have plastic in them.
Yeah.
And it shows you the ones that don't. And do you know, as soon as that aired, fucking everyone's changed their game. Every tea
PG
bag.
Tips have done it now, isn't it?
Yeah, and so's Yorkshire Tea just now, because they weren't changing until that came out.
That's what I'm saying. That's where the buck needs to go, right? Stop telling us people down here it needs to go up there. Like,
But they're not going to release the show to them. It needs to.
Yeah, I
it
know,
needs to
but
be
that's the
It
problem.
needs to be broadcasted.
I know, that's where the problem with governments and stuff are saying. But yeah, we're not going to get into that because that's a whole different non-film related discussion. Over to you.
Well,
Ben.
that's interesting. That's why it raises so high on Paul's list, because it provokes the discussion. That's good.
It's at number 2 on my list as well. So
Oh, is it? Oh,
The,
right. Okay.
the revolution will be televised.
Yeah.
they
The
live.
revolution will not be televised. That's the truth.
It's true. But this kind of shit, this is the shit that doesn't evolve the colour of your skin. So It's stuff that people would like to do that makes them feel good.
This is the type of shit that shows you actually all one person stop fucking around and hurting each other and let's all get together.
Just one final point on this this topic of conversation, because I'm guessing we're kind of reading into the lines of the environment and climate change overall, but it is, generally speaking, as an area of focus, it is typically dominated by the middle and upper classes, because the middle and upper classes are normally those who are in a position to do the most about it. Kind of going with what you're saying, exactly. Adam, working class Joes, for the most part, aren't really in a position to change their lives easily.
If these companies at the top made it easy for everybody, like if fucking Coca-Cola, for example, decided to make it, then that would, like, the amount of people that just drink Coke anyway or have Coca-Cola products, so again, these people at the bottom don't actually have to do anything at the end of the day. They have to put a bottle in a recycling bin instead of the normal bin. That is it.
Yes.
That is as simple as it literally should be. You shouldn't have to buy a special product to do it. You shouldn't have to buy canned water to recycle it.
No.
I agree. That's it.
All right. Well, my number 2 stays in the sort of political spectrum and socio-economic spectrum in a way. My number 2 is the film that was mentioned by Adam, One Night in Miami.
Ooh, okay.
Regina King's directorial debut.
And very high up your list, Ben.
I fucking loved it, man. Like, so,
I know.
as we said in the episode, it is any film that is dialogue driven and could almost be set on a stage, I'm in. And the fact that this had such a great cast of characters. This is essentially Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Muhammad Ali all meeting after one of Muhammad Ali's fights in a hotel room one night and setting the world to rights and discussing what it means to be black, what it means for their people in their respective roles as entertainers, what they're doing wrong, and how each of them thinks the other person isn't quite doing what they could for their people, and yet everyone has their own perception of what they have been doing. I fucking love the dynamic and the conversation, and the fact that it came out this year, riding on the back of the Black Lives Matter movement and the prominence of that over the spring and the summer. It felt like perfect fucking timing for you know, us as white guys. Really, as I said in that podcast before, we were the worst people to be talking about the nuances and the detail of this, but nevertheless it's out there, and I think it provokes an interesting conversation within the black community about what it means to be black, what it means to be a successful black person, and what your obligations are or should be if there are any. And I thought it was fucking explored real well in this film, with characters that were worth investing in, and real life, true life characters. I thought it was wonderful.
Do you know one of my favourite things about this film is speaking about it on the podcast?
That means you really didn't like the film, eh?
Because I was not there.
Yeah.
But the discussion that we had after this film, it's a film you need to watch and discuss.
That's true.
Like me, you and Jenny sitting down and talking about it, like the ideas of it, then you can really evaluate what these people have said.
That's it. It was an idea film. You're right.
Yeah.
It's an idea film.
It's almost like watch it and now talk about this film. Everyone, that's how this film should almost be viewed.
Yes, you're right. It's like listening to not in a boring way, but it's like listening to a really interesting lecture for 2 hours and then going outside and being like, oh, what did you think about that? Do you agree with this? It's strong. You should check it out, Paul, when it comes on Boxing Day.
I definitely want to, yeah.
If it comes on Boxing Day. And that was the second appearance from Leslie Odom Jr.
Ooh.
He's real good as Sam Cooke. He's got a beautiful voice in it. And one of the best scenes in a film is when he's performing as Sam Cooke and the electricity cuts out and he manages to get the whole crowd involved in his sing-along. So even in the back benches, they can hear him. Oh, special
shit.
Okay.
Is it time for number 1?
It's time for your number 1s, boys.
We've all got different number 1s. I know it.
I think I got it now.
This is the Small Axe film Mangrove for me. It's a 9 out of 10. What a powerful film. That is like beautiful. Like the sense of community in the beginning to like the passion in the courtrooms. It's all so fucking good. So it gets you fucking angry. Makes you fucking feel ashamed. It's fucking great. Great film. So well done. Cinematography is beautiful as well. Where was it placed on your 2 lists?
6.
Game number 4 for me.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I fucking loved it. Great. And that is the best Small Axe film. I mean, that was the only one that appeared in my top 20. This is the only one I felt the real passion for.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, fucking
loved
it.
If you don't watch it, you should watch it. It's all on I think all of them are on iPlayer again for
BBC
another
iPlayer
year.
Yeah.
They've got a year on them or something like that. So get along.
And maybe Amazon shortly for Americans.
It is the best of the small axes, without doubt. It was very
100%.
important, and to see it was, it was fucking educational, to say the least.
Yeah.
The only thing I must say, now that we've talked about all the small axe films, the biggest misstep that Steve McQueen made in each of them is, I think, he made the white villains, the white bad guys, antagonists in each of them, too on the nose. Yeah, they were too like caricatures.
Just 2D.
And maybe that's because, I don't know.
It is a caricature, like you said, Ben.
Maybe that is how they were, though, and that's why it feels like a caricature, because we're so used to that as the
I kind
old
of get
racist
what you're on about, but
white
they're
British
too
guy.
evil almost.
Yes, they are, and they say things that are too obviously racist, rather than like how people would actually be racist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, when these films are set, that might be
Exactly.
how it was. Rather
Exactly.
than nowadays, people kind of beat around the bush a bit more about being racist. I'm
PC
not
bully,
racist, but-
PC pulley.
I'm not
PC
racist, but
bully.
What PC pulley? You know, one thing that I don't like from Mangrove
what?
is Letitia Wright as a person. She's done two things that personally I disagreed with. One, when she won all her awards for whatever she won her awards for, I can't remember what it was. Was it Black Panther? A couple of years ago?
Okay.
She got up on stage at every one of the award ceremonies and all she talked about was God, which was highly annoying. And then recently she started sharing anti-vax conspiracy theories.
Anti-vax stuff, yeah. That's what she's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's a good actress, but she's a dumbass. So people are allowed to be two things.
It can be.
Anyway, should we move on to number one for me?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
This is one that Ben has mentioned.
Ooh.
It is American Utopia.
Oh, yeah.
this is your number one. Fuck.
It's
Wow.
my number one. I watched this and I didn't know nothing about it. It was part of Ben's film festival link, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was London Film Festival ticket.
I came home from work and I think I got home from work at like 9 o'clock and I immediately watched it, and it was kind of exactly what I needed after a 13-hour day at work and in the middle of COVID and a lockdown. And it's a party. It's a party. You're having fun. You know the songs of Talking Heads and songs of David Byrne as well. And he doesn't just. It's not just a party. Obviously, he's got his stage and he wants to give you a message as well. And it's powerful, is what it is, man. And I've listened to talk about it. He was on Six Music recently, and he was talking about it. And he was just describing like his band, for example, and how these people from all over the world have come together to make music for you. And every single night they're going up on stage and they're recreating this music in a band while dancing and performing. It's just, it's brilliant.
It was good, wholesome stuff. It was positive fucking energy stuff.
Yes.
Like, watching that was like, oh, wow, there is some light in all this darkness.
Yes.
But it was done in a
Get-
kind of clever way, eh?
Where can you watch that? Or you can't watch it at the moment?
It's
No.
out on it's coming to Amazon Prime soon.
Okay.
And Spike Lee directed it.
And Spike Lee did that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So check it out. You two with the black filmmakers with your number one films.
What, you got a white guy?
I've got a white woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
we're all very progressive.
So my number one film, I guess we're on that now,
Yeah.
is Relic. Which
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I
I knew it was going to be this film, but I just couldn't
Yes.
remember the title of it.
I won't talk too much about it because I'd obviously like for both of you guys to see it. But I'm going to say, I'm going to caveat this. The entire time that I've had this at my number one spot, subsequently, I've always questioned it being there because some of the films that I've watched, I've thought, are you better? Are you better? And I think that some of them are objectively better than Relic. But the reason that
An actual better filmmaker rather than an actor.
Yeah,
Well,
and I think as a film, collectively, a whole piece, I think there are better films. However, Relic, for me, had to be my number one because of the emotional reaction that I had to it. Because Relic is, on the face of it, a horror story about a grandmother, her daughter, and her granddaughter having to deal with the fact that the grandmother is succumbing to a certain illness, which is entwined with a supernatural presence within the house. And it kind of feels at first like a very well-made supernatural horror film, but it turns into something else entirely and deals with dementia. Like I said, there are 3 dementia-based films in my top 20. This is the main one. It deals with fucking dementia in a way I've never seen put on screen, and it does it in such a horrific, emotional, questioning fucking way, because there are so many snippets within it that feel like this is a horror trope, and then you stop and you're like, no, it's not. This is fucking reality. This happens to people. And the final act of the film, I know Katie from For Your Reference Pod, she watched it, and I know she appreciated what it was doing, but I think she was saying in the final act it kind of lost it for her, because she didn't really go with it. She didn't think it had earned its ending. But for me, the ending made it a fucking 10 out of 10, because I was sat there for the last 15 minutes of it, tears in my eyes, like properly crying at one point, because partly because of how it was dealing with dementia and losing a loved one, but also the fact that it was doing it through the medium of horror. It made me think, fucking hell, this is the power of film, because this is like explicitly not the situation I went through with my grandfather, but on a fucking underlying level it completely was. And it just reminded me that that's why I love film, because whatever we are seeing in film, whatever we first observe on film, we can view it on that surface level and appreciate it and like it for that, but underneath it there's always something else going on. And if you can get to that shit that's going on underneath the surface, boy, that's the fucking good stuff. And there's no other film that I've seen all year that hit me in the way that did. And some people may watch those final 10 minutes and not really connect to it, but when I watched them, I was like, fuck, this is everything. This is fucking capturing everything. So it is my number 1 film of the year. And
I can't wait to see that.
Yes.
Sounds fantastic.
Shout out to Natalie Erica James, my female director.
Look at that. Wow. That is our 2020 wrap-up.
That's our 2020 wrap-up. We got one last little thing to do before we do our score things, though, is tell our performance of the year, right?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Shall I tell mine?
Go ahead,
Shall I go
Paul.
straight out with mine?
Yes.
Mine is actually a film that was just at the edge of my top 10 list, and that is Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Great.
I
He
can
was
get
great
behind
in
that.
So good.
Yes.
Standout performance.
Good
Okay.
stuff for
Fucking great.
Willem. Adam?
This one here is for me. He's in 2 films on my top 10, and Ben very briefly mentioned him. It's Leslie Odom Jr. for the Sam Cooke role in Miami.
Wow.
Wow. Yes. He deserves
I didn't really
that.
know who to put before we started picking these lists, and I was going through it, and I just looked at them and I thought, yep, you're the one who stands out, most memorable role out of all of those in there.
Beautiful.
But also
Fantastic
he's great
stuff.
in Hamilton, like you said, so he kind of gets a little...
And a great singer. He's a great singer to boot.
Exactly. It's when you told me he actually sung it, I was like, okay, no, that's respect.
He's got a big future ahead of him. Well, my standout performance of the year, I mentioned the film, it was in my honourable mentions, and I cannot praise the film, but this performance specifically enough. It is Michael Martin in Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets.
Oh, wow.
Like I said to you guys, if you
shout.
get the chance to watch this fucking film, you are watching it and you're like, is this a documentary? Because the acting is so fucking good. And you know, he is acting. He's acting his performance. He's like being himself, but he's acting it. He's pushing the edges of his personality out. Like, imagine going into a bar, Paul, and being told, right, we need you to be you, but on camera. You need to perform as yourself. And this man did it, and he's fucking incredible. And since then, since I've had the interview with him, he's such a fucking charming, lovely guy. I love following him on Twitter and seeing what he talks about and seeing how he is. This guy only really broke onto the acting scene 10 years ago. He's an older guy. He's come to it very late in life, and he's put out this fantastic performance. I've got huge respect for the way that he's working at the moment. And also, I'm going to push Madam D, which is his short film that he's done. I'm going to share that on my Twitter account, because I think people should see that his performance in this, which is quite striking. I'm going to push that all over Twitter. I love this guy. I hope to see him in some other stuff. He deserves the work.
Beautiful. Great fucking shout, mate.
Whoa.
Well, look at that. Fantastic stuff. Shall we swiftly move on to our changing of ratings this year?
Yes, I told you
Yes.
this would be a long fucking episode, didn't I?
It did.
It's a very
Are
long
we all,
episode.
Are we
We're
all
almost
still
there.
recording?
We're almost
Are we
there.
all still recording?
I'm still recording, yeah.
Right, so I'll go first. I've got quite a few changes to make because we've only just implemented the rewards for winning the quiz. So I actually have 6 changes to make.
Fucking hell,
It's
we'll be here
mental,
all day.
It won't take long. I'll just rush through them.
Yes.
So my first change, I've got 2 changes to make in 2020. I've actually got 2 changes to make in every year for our podcast. So the first change in 2020 is Uncut Gems. It's gone from an 8 to a 9.
Whoa.
Okay. Agree with that. I'm on
Fantastic.
board with that. I'll let you have
Yeah.
that.
My second change of 2020, it's a little soft change because I felt I might as well change it because I had the score to change it, and that's The Gentleman from a 5 to a 6.
Oh, you've
Oh.
upgraded. Nice. Nicely.
Nice
Well
of
done.
you. I was hoping you put Jesus roll from a 1 to a 2.
No, that stays the same. I already had it as a 2.
Okay, 2 to a 1 then.
How sweet. The Gentleman gets his props. We've come full circle this year, mate. That was a January film.
I know.
It's taken you all this journey through COVID to
Yes,
to
I watched
Both
it
of
make
them
again.
you
are January
appreciate it.
films.
I know, it's true. Yeah,
I
Uncut Gems
watched it
January
again.
film
I
too.
wasn't as harsh.
No.
Okay, we move swiftly on to 2019. You're going to like this one, Ben.
Oh.
This is Midsummer from an 8 to a 9.
Oh, nice. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love watching that film again, especially the director's cut.
Look at
I
that
enjoyed
now.
the director's cut. I know you said it felt like a bit of a.
It was fine. It
slog,
didn't
but I
need it.
enjoyed
It didn't
more.
need it.
Yeah. And then the second change in 2019 is It Chapter 2 from a 6 to a 7.
Interesting.
You're giving it a lot of love. They're all going up.
Yes, everything's going up this year. There's nothing going down.
Wow.
My last 2 changes are in 2018, and that's Halloween 2018 from an 8 to a 9.
I knew you were going to do that because you
Oh.
mentioned that in conversation before.
Yeah. I fucking love rewatching that film. I loved it. I can't wait for the next one to come out. And my last change of 2020 is Hereditary from a 6 to a 7.
That's the same director as Midsummer, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is 4 of those films that you've upgraded are horror films.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Well, I don't know what kind of why it's so interesting, but that's interesting.
It is.
Okay, so my film this year, I'm going to change. It's because I've changed it in real life. It's going to be Invisible Man. I gave it a 9, but after time, it's going to be an 8. I'm afraid.
Don't have to apologise.
I know. I feel harsh.
You
but,
join all of
yeah.
us. We all give it an 8 now.
Yeah, it's
See,
all down
this
to the 8.
is now where my morals are going to come into question. There's 2 films here. It's a toss-up. One film is going to be giving it a 9 to a 10.
Oh,
Oh, my lord.
Which would give this film 3 10s across the board, which has never
shit!
before.
Oh my god, I know what it is.
Oh,
yes.
it's going to be The Irishman.
Yes.
Is it?
So, I don't know, but the other film I want to change is going to drop a film from a 9 to an 8. And this film always crops up on our lists. And we always joke about it being too high up these lists, and it annoys me how high up on it is when you look at the films around it. And I think I'm going to have to do it because there's other films that I agree with being above The Irishman, but I'm going to drop Infinity War from a 9 to an 8.
Mate, I agree with you. I'm glad you did that. That's the better move
I'm
to
fine
make.
with that.
Not just because of tactics, but it keeps
But there's
our
too many
top
films it
scoreboard
sits above
interesting.
that
Yeah,
annoy
yeah.
me that it's above those films.
Mate.
Whereas there's films above The Irishman which I accept to be above The Irishman.
Absolutely.
Do you know what?
Your Infinity
I'm
War 9
fine.
was bad.
Did you go 9 to an 8, you say?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I agree with that because I hate you guys complaining that it's so high when you're the ones who rated it so high.
Well,
It's like, why is it so high? You
I
fucking
didn't
gave the
rate
high
it so.
score.
It's you two, mate. You're the ones with the 9s and the 10s for it.
You gave it a 9 as well, didn't you?
No, I did not give it a 9. Infinity War got a 6, mate. You gave it a fucking 9.
You gave it an 8, didn't you?
That was erroneously on Letterboxd. You know that I would never give it that shit. I don't even know why that was the case until Paul pointed it out.
I think it might even be a 7 on my letterbox, but we're going 9 to an 8.
Very good. Okay,
All right.
go on, Ben.
So
Take it
I
away.
had 4. So I'm going to tell you, I've moved 2 up and I've moved 2 down. I'm not sure of the years. I think they're... well, anyway, fuck it. I'll just do it this way. So, It Chapter 2.
Okay, 2019.
Yes. I was too generous. It's not a 9. It's coming down. It's an 8.
Okay.
Okay.
It's an 8. That's fair. It's definitely not that.
I feel
good.
like it's a film that I haven't agreed with as much as I thought I did when I watched it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's not.
Even
aged
the
that
first
so
one, I
well.
feel like they were a bit forgettable, horrible. They
They were good for what they
horror.
were, but they're not exceptional.
Yeah.
They're not exceptional, so that's how they go.
They were almost too palatable. It's a bit like that whole Stranger Things horror.
Oh, yes. And to correct the scoreboards again, Avengers Endgame. It is not a 7. It comes down to a 6. So Infinity War and Endgame both have a 6 now. And I will update my letterbox to reflect that. I don't know
I'm fine
why
with
they
that.
said 8 and whatever they said.
I'm glad you've taken it down, so there's no more complaining.
There we go. And that's legit. I wanted to do that. That is fair. Now, I'm upgrading 2 films from you two boys from this year. Your recommendations.
Okay.
I really hope it's one film in my head.
I said this one before for Paul, and I stand by it because out of all the ones I've seen this year, this one keeps niggling at me, and I think, no, I was too harsh on it. I actually enjoyed it much more than I thought I did. So They Live is going up from a 7 to an 8.
Oh,
It's an 8
wow,
out of 10.
what a call.
Oh, yes.
What a call.
It stuck
Nice.
with me too much. I rewatched it.
Did you?
Yeah, but I mean, not long after that first watch, not recently, and I remember thinking, okay, no, it's more than that. It stayed with me
It's
more,
a fun film.
and
It's
I
good.
appreciate it. Yeah, having seen some more
The
John
visuals.
Carpenter's after that, it works. It does work. It's an 8.
Yeah. Yes.
And Adam,
Lovely.
because in a similar vein, this film kept me thinking way beyond our podcast on it, and that's always a good sign. 6 is far too harsh a score for it, so Burning is going up to a 7. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That doesn't need to happen.
It's a 7. 6 was too harsh on it. It was.
I thought you two were very harsh on
Yeah.
Burning at the time.
I stick with my score. I would never move that up from a 6.
By the end of that podcast, I'd almost convinced myself it was a 7. So
That's good.
there's some
I'm
updated
glad.
scores there, which could
That's lovely.
could change our overall leaderboard.
That will definitely change the leaderboard. That's going to throw some shit about.
Listen, just while we're here, though,
You wanna try Avengers?
Infinity War has 8 from Adam, 10 from Paul, and 6 from me. That means 24. So that means Infinity War goes down to an average of an 8. It drops out of our top 20. Awesome.
There you go.
And Avengers
Happy about
Endgame? Oh, Avengers Endgame wasn't even in it, so that's good. Perfect.
Yes. That's all you wanted.
What we needed to do was done. Perfect. That was all special. That was our end of year spectacular.
Beautiful shit. There's still one more thing to do.
Oh?
I've got to say what film we're going to be doing next.
Oh, fuck me. Well, before we do that, right, everyone, in the new year, there's going to be a lot of changes. We won't tell
There
you about
is.
them all now, but we've got some very exciting shit to tell you about
Yes.
in that first episode of the new
Watch
year.
out for our Twitter page.
Yes. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears particularly peeled for that January episode.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Changes are afoot.
Changes are afoot.
But yes, of course, this is exciting. What film is going to be our fucking first of 2021?
Oh.
Tantalise us with it.
Okay, so I noticed that this year, 2020, I did a lot of middle of the road stuff. I like to make a bit of a like unexpected ratings from you guys. I don't want to pick something too high like Adam likes to do. I don't like to pick something too low because then it's just shit. I was going for something in the middle, but I thought, you know what? Let me go for something that's definitive from me this time.
Okay.
It's about time. Yeah, that I pick something definitive.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Justice League.
It's American Psycho.
Oh, boy, I
okay,
watched that. I
fucking hell.
rewatched that the other day, and I
Wait,
was thinking,
wait.
we could discuss this.
Wait,
Part 2.
American Psycho 2, All American Girl.
Oh, no.
Oh boy, is this the Mila Kunis one?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
When I said definitive, I meant definitively low.
I'm glad. Do you know what? In some ways, I'm glad that you said part 2, because even though American Psycho would have been wicked, you know we're
Yes.
going to have shit to say for
We
part 2.
we don't do low films enough, so I think it's time we threw some low ones out there.
I just bought the book on American Psycho.
It's a good read. Good read.
The ending of the book, American Psycho, gives a totally different spin on the actual ending of the film.
This is why I want
It
to read
does.
it, because of that reason. That's what people say.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Wow. American. How can we watch this, Paul?
It's actually on streaming on Amazon Prime
Excellent.
at the moment.
Oh, boy.
So easy for everyone to go and watch.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that'll
And that's
be
going to
Beautiful
be
stuff.
sometime in the new year.
Yes.
well.
Sometime early Jan.
2021. We're kicking it off with American Psycho Part 2.
Hopefully
Wow.
that hasn't got any inkling to do with what the rest of 21 is going to be like.
I know. Fuck me. Surely
I'm going to pick fucking low shit the whole year.
you're going to lowball us all the way through, man. I don't think it's going to be a good year. Wow.
I almost forgot we're back to picking our own films now. I haven't really thought about that.
I know.
Shall I throw out our slogans?
Yeah. Tell them.
Shall I throw out our socials?
Throw out whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Okay, so you
No
can
one's
get in touch
listening
with
at this
us
point.
on Instagram and Twitter at FilmbustersPod. You can also go to our website www.filmbusterspod.co.uk. That's where you can get all our
Who's sniffing at the
Podcasts.
mic?
and some reviews from our in-house critics. I'm really distracted by this thing that sounds like a dog sniffing on the microphone.
I honestly thought Memphis had come along.
Fucking hell.
Let's just
You
end
can
the
also
podcast,
get to
Paul.
us on our personal accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters 2020.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
What an end. What an end.
Listen, there's a little doggy come into the room.
He's sniffing. Should we all
Who is
pretend
it?
to be? Should we all pretend to be dogs?
This is a horrible, stupid way to end the year, man.
What a way to end!
What will
What a
people
way to
think
end
of
an
us?
episode.
Filmbusters.